We're doing another 2026 NFL draft breakdown. We're going to do a mock draft, a dual mock draft here, and then we're going to talk about updated odds. And don't worry, I'm not going to have to do the Kalshi dance where I have to guess what the odds are. I actually have DraftKings and BetMGM odds up. Unless my web browser crashes, then we might be in trouble. But otherwise, should be good to go. Looking forward to this NFL draft breakdown. Before we get into it, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something for the merch store. It is our August is Gluttony Month t-shirt. And there we go. Ben Wasley coming in strong with the green Walter football t-shirt. Thanks, Ben, for wearing that. You can go to the merch store here, get 15% off sale. And Ben's wearing this green one. But if you want another color, you could just change the color of this shirt and any other. You get any shirt in long sleeve, hoodie, women's tank top, and infant onesie. You can get mugs. You can get our famous apron. You can get playing cards, mouse pad. We have other mugs. We have a blanket, baby bib, anything you could possibly want. The merch store, like I said, 15% off sale. You go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent one is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of these wonderful people on the cover here. And my first book was The Safety and a Field Goal, which is a top 5 topic book about the NFL. Mostly serious stuff, but some fun stuff as well. Some crazy stories about players and coaches. And lastly, please consider super chats and super stickers. That is the best way to support the show. I can't say enough how bad YouTube pays us. So if you guys want to help us get over the poverty line, that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, we are joined by Ben Wasley of FFDFantasyFootball.com. That is not there. It is. Ben, how are you on this? Well, for you, it's a Thursday afternoon. Well, Friday.
It's a Friday.
Friday afternoon.
It's a Friday afternoon. Last day of my holidays. What better place would I rather be? What an honor it is to be on with the king of the mock draft. In my head, anyway. I've always, when I first got into the draft, I was like, it is clear who has the best side. It is clear that I need to go and look at Walt and Charlie stuff, and I have ever since. It's how I've built all my dynasty rankings. It's how I look at all my mock draft stuff, and it's awesome to be on the show and wearing the merch as well. It's a high quality shirt. I'm loving it. The fabric's beautiful. Go out and get one for yourselves.
Thank you for advertising it. Greatly appreciate it. Charlie is the king. I just happen to run the place where Charlie does his work, but Charlie is the best. And we've seen the results. So yeah, we're like I said, we're going to do a dual mock draft. We have to still decide who's going to do odds and evens on this mock draft simulator. Before we do, let's read these comments. AI has Fernando Mendoza. That's actually it's Ty Simpson actually petting an alligator. It's a crocodile. So yeah, it's in the outback, of course. Hello, Ben. Drew says, and Drew says, so update. YouTube must have spent bots on my video at one point. It was 811, now down to 705. That's weird. That will go down. I don't know. I guess maybe a bot sweep or something, but I've never experienced that personally. But who knows? YouTube's kind of weird. This is the thumbnail that that Drew is referring to. Pull it up here if you guys could see it real fast. We have Simpson petting crocodile, Roger Goodell explaining something to a kangaroo for some reason. Oh, by the way, Simpson's holding Foster's beer, and the kangaroo still has a bite mark from Puka who's lurking in the background. So thank you, ChatGPT, for making this in 1 minute. It's pretty fantastic. But yeah, so like I said, we're going to do a mock draft in this mock draft simulator. We're going to control every team, so we don't have to worry about the computer making sketchy picks. We'll do the first round. So, do you care if your odds are evens? I'll decide if you don't care.
I honestly look. Firstly, before we ever get into this, we just need to break down this thumbnail for a second. Can we go back to the thumbnail?
Yes. Let's
go. Okay, a couple of things I need to note. Firstly, no one in Australia drinks Fosters. This is not a thing. This is like Outback Steakhouse. Like, it's not an Australian thing. You can't even, I don't even know where I'd go about getting it here. Like, it is such like an American thing that you think it is Australian, but I have not seen a Foster's in person for literally years. Really? It's not a thing. Having said that, we do pet crocodiles. Actually, we're more likely to pet a kangaroo. There are literally kangaroos around. Like, I've had kangaroos go through my backyard, not at my current place, but when I live closer to the bush, that is a legitimate thing. And koalas as well. They are legitimately around. But the Foster's thing, that is a lie. That is not a real thing. Having said that, Puka Nakua is right around the corner looking over my shoulder, so just be aware.
Yeah, you don't want to get bitten on the shoulder by that guy. So
yeah.
Where do you think that came from then? The Foster's thing is just branding, I guess.
It is just branding. I think they were just like, where Australia is known for liking beer, so we're going to take it to America and say that we're Australian beer, but it's an Australian company, but it's not popular in Australia because it's terrible. Well, we generally, yeah.
I've never had a Foster's before. I can't say if it's terrible or good or anything.
Look, I'm not a big beer guy, admittedly, but everyone in Australia knows it's kind of a joke.
So what do you guys drink instead? Like, what kind of beer brand do you drink instead?
So where I live, we have a beer called 4X, which again is still like the cheaper type, but it's what all like Queenslanders, which is my state, drink. It's like made in the middle of town, and we're all very patriotic with it. But there's plenty of other beers around, like VB and stuff like that are all legitimate Australian brands that all like the cheaper Australian beer drinkers will drink, and then a lot of the yuppie guys, like the richer crew, will drink like craft beers and things like that.
The richer crew sounds like you don't like those people.
Oh look, I got nothing against them. It's just not my I'm not much of a beer guy anyway. I'm more of like a whiskey guy. So I'm really kind of speaking out of my ass at the moment anyway.
I was always vodka or gin personally. Whiskey is good. I like whiskey too, obviously. But beer. I'll drink beer. Like if it's there, I'll drink it. It's not like I go after. It's not my first choice, but I feel the same way. So do you have like any American beer there? Because we have allegedly Australian beer. Do you have like Miller Lite or Coors Light or Bud Light? You don't have that there?
I mean, I reckon there are places you could go where you could get it, but it would never be on tap anywhere. It would be very difficult to get your hands on it, but it is around in the same way, I guess, that Foster's is around there. But really, I've never turned up at a party and seen someone drinking like a Miller Lite or anything like that.
Okay. I like envision myself like visiting Australia one time, like going to a party, like, yeah, Foster's beer, and they're like, why? What are you like? Why do you have this? So
yeah. Why are you doing this to yourself?
I know. I really never have had it. I'm kind of like curious now if it's piss or anything. But have you said you've had it though, right? Like
I haven't had it, but I've had enough friends who have that have made me decide I'm never going to. It's kind of like Vegemite a little bit. Like the difference is that there are legitimately a subset of people who will eat Vegemite. It's a small subset, but there are people who will eat Vegemite, but everyone thinks it's just an Australian thing that everyone does. Tim Tams, on the other hand, are a legitimately Australian thing that you need to try.
I have no idea what that is. Tim Tams?
So it's like a chocolate biscuit. They're absolutely incredible.
Oh.
They're just legitimately the best chocolate biscuit you can get. If you've never tried Tim Tams, just go out of your way to get some. Do anything you can. They are literally the best snack you can have.
Tim Tams. I'll have to ask my wife if she's heard of it. I don't. Yeah, I've never heard of it before. I don't know where I could get one, but I'll try.
Incredible. Just whatever you can do, make it happen.
Maybe they have them at Outback Steakhouse. Probably not. As for dessert, but it's been so long since been to Outback Steakhouse, like forever. And you said you don't have those there either. Those are.
It's not real. Like we don't have that. Like it is kind of, I guess, copying a general like Australian bar and grill type of place. Where like we do have steakhouses around the place, but we have just as many American style steakhouses. We have this place called Hog's Breath, which is meant to be like an American steakhouse, and it's basically exactly the same as an Outback bar and grill, but it's American themed. So I really don't think there's that much difference between yours and our steakhouses.
I'm curious, like how's it American theme? Like what is like?
There's like an old Chevy and like Elvis pictures on the walls and like Route 66 signs and like jukeboxes with American music and like it's aiming at like 60s and 70s America sort of. A lot of rock and roll stuff. It's real tacky.
That is funny. Yeah, it's basically a '60s diner or something. We have my favorite restaurant here is called Nifty Fifties. It's a '50s diner. So that it kind of sounds like it almost.
Yeah.
It's not really a steakhouse. They have like it's like burger, fries, and
Yeah.
etc. Hot dogs and whatnot. But yeah, that's funny. Just a '60s place, '70s place. Yeah, that's interesting. I would love to go to Australia at one point. I've never left the country except to go to Bermuda for my honeymoon. So I've never been west. I've actually never been west of Las Vegas. It's the most westward I've gone. Never to California. My cousin who lives out there, she's always like, "Come visit me." I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to go to California." Anyway,
just skip California straight to Australia. Just straight over the top.
Just skip it. I feel like it would land in California and then go.
Yeah, probably would actually. That's the easiest way to get to Australia is via California.
Yeah, and then I would have to say I've been to California, which I don't like to say because it's
just go to Hawaii, and then Australia. That works. You can do that.
Actually, I think when we were looking up honeymoon destinations when we got married, 8 years ago, we were like Hawaii was one of the places, and then like Bora Bora, which is like even farther west, and so like I think to go to Bora Bora, we actually had to stop in Hawaii. So I think that does sound familiar. But when we saw Bermuda was like a 2-hour flight, and instead of like 18-hour flight or whatever, we're like let's just go with the 2-hour flight. And Bermuda's nice anyway. So and it was a nice week, except for the tree frogs who make so much noise there. They didn't have white noise machine, or at least I didn't use a white noise machine back then. If I had, I would have slept well, but it was a nightmare at night. Those things are so loud. It was awful. So that's like one thing. If you go to Bermuda, just make sure you have a white noise machine, and then you'll be fine. Let's come one tip that I have learned at Outback Steakhouse. If you ever want to order your desired temperature, always order one above. 90% of the time they undercook the food. And, okay, interesting. I don't know why they would do that, but yeah, like I said, I haven't been. It's been like 2 decades since I've been the one. I think it's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, well, two young kids don't go out these days anyway. So, all right, let's get to the mock draft here. Do you care if your odds are evens?
Not really, honestly. I think that the 2 pick's going to be really interesting, and so I'm going to force you onto the 2 pick. I'll take the odds.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll do the odds. You'll do the odds then. So, take it away. What are the Raiders doing?
Are we going to allow trades?
We could do one trade. I guess it might be. I don't know. I might not have difficulty conducting it on this platform. I've never used it before.
Maybe we just say we'll say no, but we'll discuss it at the time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Mendoza. Should I click that in?
Yep. Let's do it. Lock it in.
All right. So I'm at number 2 for the Jets. Actually, let me enlarge this here if it works better. Okay. So number 2 with the Jets. Obviously, we had the news. We'll discuss this. We had the news yesterday that David Bailey's top 30 visit to the Jets was canceled. Andy Isco, who was on the show yesterday, pointed out that the Jets may have just been saving money on the flight because they'd already decided. But we didn't really know. There was a report today from Adam Schefter. I don't know if you saw it. He said that he viewed it as a positive because the Jets already knew what they were going to do, so they didn't need to do any more due diligence on Bailey. So for me, I don't know how you can tell. Like, if they just think about it this way, like if they want to draft Bailey, what's the point of bringing him in for a top 30 visit? If they already know it, like they're just wasting their time at this point, or wasting money if they care about the flight. And conversely, if they know they wanted to draft Reese, it would be the same thing. Like, why would they bring in Bailey? Actually, you know what? I think if they favored Reese, I think they'd want to bring in Bailey just so they just make sure that they make sure that, okay, like, are we sure about Reese? Let's check in Bailey. But if they knew they were going to draft Bailey, I feel like they wouldn't have to bring him in. You know what I mean? So that is why I'm going to put Bailey here to the Jets. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I really struggle with it. When I initially heard the news, I thought, well, this doesn't really tell us anything. But then I started to wonder why they had a 30 visit happening like hours before the deadline. That seems like a really weird weird time to do that. Surely, if you're serious about drafting him, you would have scheduled a little bit earlier, just in case something goes wrong. His flight get cancelled, he gets sick. That, like, who knows? There's any number of things that could have occurred. If you're serious about making him your second pick, you're going to schedule that a couple of days out. It nearly feels like they thought, oh, we're having some doubts. Maybe we should get him in and talk to him one last time. And then the question is, did they change their mind on that? Were they never really considering him and they thought they should have a look at him at the last minute, then change their mind? I don't know what it tells us. It could tell us something in either direction, but I did notice this morning, literally in the last few hours, the odds flipped and Reese is a pretty heavy favorite throughout. When I was looking last night, my time, so this morning, your time, it was still pretty even. Whereas now I can't find anywhere that doesn't have Reese as a moderately heavy favorite.
Right now on DraftKings, Reese is minus 130 and Bailey's plus 100. So I don't know how that compares with what you saw.
Pretty similar. It did. It has drifted a little bit out from there. They were pretty much even about 12 hours ago. And now it's Reese is pretty clearly the favorite. So pretty similar to that. I did find one bookie before it changed that still had Reese at like plus 115. So I was able to arbitrage that. But other than that, it's been pretty messy, honestly.
Yeah, so I really think that, like, if they thought they wanted Reese, then they certainly would bring in Bailey to make sure. But if they knew they wanted Bailey, there's no point in bringing him in. I don't know, but then so it was like, stop applying logic to what the Jets do, which is so true. Oh man, I don't know. It's I still would say Bailey is the favorite, but I don't know. Well, I hope Charlie will get some information over the weekend. Patrick says odds went in favor of Reese after the Schefter tweet, which is odd. Yeah, because he spun it as positive for Bailey going to the Jets, but yeah, it doesn't make sense. Maybe people diagnosed it that way. Maybe someone put a big bet on Reese. Certainly possible. I have a slight bet on Bailey. It's not a lot, and I'm going to stick with it just to see what happens. The boss saying, don't teams not bring in the first round picks every year? Justin Lyons didn't bring in Gibbs and both wanted / got him. I find that it really depends on the teams. Like, some teams always bring in the guy they're going to draft. Other teams, they don't at all. Some teams don't even conduct top 30 visits. The Rams and Jaguars do not conduct any top 30 visits. Famously, the Broncos in 2006, I think I want to say, they did not communicate once with Jay Cutler, and they drafted Jay Cutler. They didn't even meet him at the combine, and they drafted Jay Cutler. But then, like I said, there are other teams that will only draft players they met with and with top 30 visits. So it really depends on the team. So the Jets last year, yeah, go ahead.
I can tell you with the Jets, I've got a table for this. They've met with 8 of their last 14 first-round picks with a top 30 visit or a local visit. Having said that, they haven't met with any of the last 3. So they are in the upper half of teams. So that puts them in the top 10 roughly of how often teams meet with their first-round picks. But it's far from a guarantee. It really can go either way. So I don't think we can read into that too much.
Okay. Well, to me, that makes Bailey make more sense. You know, if they didn't meet with him, they didn't meet with Membo and they took him. So they didn't meet with what's his name? The other tackle, Fashanu. I think that says that Bailey's been picked. Did they hold on? Did they meet with a Reese? I have this on the site. I can check right now. I don't know if you have it, but
yeah, I do.
Reese. No, Reese was not a top 30 visit either. He was they met with him at the pro day, but not top 30. So, top 30 first round prospects who met with the Jets: Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper. There's top 30 visits. I mean. Colton Hood, if you want to call him that, Chris Johnson, Sonny Styles. What'd you say?
Makai Lemon.
Yeah, Makai Lemon. Yeah, I missed that one. Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't meet with Reese or Bailey. So, yeah, I don't think this really says anything, actually. So, We'll see. I don't know why they'd be so secretive. Like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna snipe them from the guy they want, so it doesn't really matter. So, anyway, you are on the clock at number 3 with the Cardinals. So what are they doing?
I think the pick here, if Bailey goes at 2, is nearly a lock to be Reese. The question is who actually is doing the picking. Obviously, in this mock, it's going to be the Cardinals, but I could definitely see the Cowboys trading up. I know that there's a lot of buzz around that, but it could equally be the Commanders trading up. There's probably quite a few teams in that top 10. The Chiefs could if they wanted to, though I think they've got enough needs that it doesn't really make any sense for them to. I'd say the two most likely are the Cowboys and the Commanders, but the Cardinals might not get an offer they like, and they might just decide to stick and pick with Reese as well, especially if he's the guy that's available. It kind of feels to me like maybe they like one of the two better, and if the guy they don't like falls, then they might try to trade out of the position. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they definitely want to trade down, but you're right. Maybe they don't get any sort of value and they stay put in 3. I think Reese will be the pick 2. There was someone's, I think it was Connor Hughes from SNY, posted today. He thought that the Cardinals could draft Jeremiah Love at 3. Do you buy into that at all? I really don't.
No, not really. I was looking at the odds are really messy for the 3rd pick at the moment. There's a lot of arbitrage opportunities there if you assume it's likely to be one of those top 3 guys. But even if you incorporate Love, which I did just to kind of cover my bases, you can still kind of guarantee yourself a win. I think it's unlikely, but it's not impossible a team will decide they want to jump over the Titans to get Love. I think that would be truly insane. There was a really good video by Michael McKenzie recently, who actually quoted Charlie Campbell in his video, talking about how much of a waste it is to draft running backs this early in the draft and how it's rarely efficient because you're paying them a low money contract when you would have been doing that half the time anyway with your running back. So I can definitely see an argument that it's got to be Reese here, and I think it should be. Mauanoa is, I guess, a possibility as well. The Cardinals stick and just decide they're going to take the player they want, but I think they're going to be very willing to trade down.
Yeah, the odds are Reese plus 150, Bailey plus 155, Mauanoa plus 650, and Love plus 750. So yeah, we'll get to that, but you're right. I mean, you could just bet both Reese and Bailey and guarantee yourself a profit unless something crazy happens with Love. I really don't see it though. It kind of reminds me of the Cardinals floated out there a couple years ago that they like Malik Neighbors more than Marvin Harrison Jr., which in hindsight they probably should have done that, but Harrison's big disappointment. I don't know. I would not draft him this year, but we'll talk about fantasy later in the summer. Okay. Number 4, I am on the clock. I think this is easy. Jeremiah Love. Charlie Campbell reported that the Titans really like Jeremiah Love. I haven't heard anything to dispute that yet. Charlie will be talking to teams over the weekend, so we'll have an update. And there was actually a report done a couple of hours ago. I think it was from Jordan Renan from ESPN, who's actually a good reporter. He said the Giants would draft Jeremiah Love at 5 if he had gotten there. So if you want to bet Jeremiah Love top 5, I would say do it now until before the odds get much worse. So yeah. So you want to talk about the Giants here or anything on Jeremiah Love?
Yeah, the only other name I've ever heard around the Titans is Sonny Styles as a possibility. That doesn't really make any sense to me either. If you're going to take a non-premium position, surely you take the better player. And Sonny Styles is good, but I think Jeremiah Love is arguably better. Either of those players is a non-premium position. It's weird that they're kind of the two players that they're down to. Yeah. Having said that, I can understand they don't particularly need O-line help, and I think Ruben Bain would be a reach here. So it's an ugly situation for the Titans. It's unsurprising the Titans find themselves in that sort of spot. They're going to end up with a player that isn't right regardless. So I think Love is at least the safer of those options.
Yeah, for sure. Patrick saying Love top 5 is minus 140 in FanDuel. Actually, FanDuel wouldn't let me display the draft odds. They kind of, I guess, figured out the whole VPN thing. I don't know why, but I did get DraftKings and BetMGM. DraftKings, I believe it's minus 165. And at Kalshi, I think it's minus 180. So you're right, Patrick. Like minus 140 is a good deal there. Most 200 minus 200. Okay, so you're up with the Giants pick at number 5. What are they doing?
And I'm assuming we're trying to predict what they're doing, not talking about what they should do.
Yeah.
When we're doing this, because that's more interesting. There's a couple of ways they could go here. I know we talked yesterday when you were on with Andy, and I popped into the comments about the possibility of Caleb Downs. I don't think Caleb Downs makes any sense here. And as you said, Charlie does have Caleb Downs in his mock, but that's more of a placeholder because I don't think Downs makes any sense here. There has been plenty of buzz around it, but I just don't think it makes any sense. I think they go with Love if Love falls, as you said earlier, but I think the more likely option here is they go either O-line or Sonny Styles. Styles is the more popular pick in a lot of mocks, but I think that O-line makes more sense. I think they've really got to protect Jackson Dart. They've got to do all they can to make things work for him. The question is, which tackle do they go with? I think Mauanoa is probably the better tackle, but as Charlie's reported, there's a lot of teams that like Fanu as well. So it's going to be one of those two. I'm going to go with Mauanoa here, but I do agree. It could be Fanu. It could be Styles. There's actually a lot of options for this pick.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Fano or Mauanoa, I think, would be the two picks that make the most sense at the moment. Unless we get word that they like one of the receivers, I could see any of the top three, Tate, Lemon, or Tyson being the pick. And I still think Sonny Styles makes sense, but as I said yesterday, it seems like the Giants want to use this pick to help Jackson Dart. And so to protect him, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to 6 here. 6, I think, would be down to one of the receivers or one of the tackles. Mauanoa is off the board, so we're going to go with Cardinal Tate. But yeah, this could be Lemon or Tyson. I think Tate would be the preferred receiver. I mean, he's a local product. Not that means everything, but could means at least a little something. And it sounds like Tate is the favorite of Lemon and Tyson to be the first receiver, but there are some teams that likes one of those other two receivers over him, so it's not locked in or anything. And also, the Browns are definitely a trade down candidate to move down with Dallas. Dallas could move up here for Sonny Styles. Talked about that yesterday, but if the Browns don't trade down, I think Carnell takes the pick.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Carnell Tate's the most likely option. I could see a situation where they might go tackle here, knowing that they can probably get someone like a Denzel Boston later on, but I think they'd rather do it the other way around, go wide receiver early and then go tackle later on. It does seem like it's going to be some combination of wide receiver and tackle. Jordan Renan did say that Mauanoa is a possibility. He also talked about it. He basically said Styles or O-line seem to be the options he highlighted. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see how accurate he is there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, I assume that he thinks Love would be off the board, but if he is off the board, that definitely makes sense. Okay. Yeah. What do you have at number 7?
So the latest I heard around this pick was that they would prefer to take Love, but the odds of Love being there is very low. We've known for a while that they like an edge rusher. I know Charlie reported that ages ago, and I'd say it's still the case. Having said that, I think if Sonny Styles is available, he's very much in play as well. This is who I had in my most recent mock, and I've heard from a lot of people this is kind of the floor for Styles. So I'm going to go with Sonny Styles here. I don't actually like the pick. I do know that he kind of suits that. Suits what they're looking for. They do need to replace Bobby Wagner. They need some quality in that area, but I think edge rush is more important. It's just I don't think Ruben Bain is a good value at this pick. So I understand why they're taking Styles. That's just I think all the available options are kind of ugly options at this point because they would have preferred to get Tate and they would have preferred to get Love. So instead they kind of go with Styles, who's a non-premium option, but good value there at least.
You said you don't like the pick. Who would you take if you're the Redskins?
I think I might go cornerback. I think I might go Delane. Okay. I mean, ideally, if I'm Washington, I'm probably trading up. I'm going out of my way to try to get either Tate or probably Tate, honestly. Even if I'm just moving up with the Giants to 5 to make sure I get Tate. Because I don't think any of these other picks really make sense. I can understand the need to address the defense, but unless they're getting all the way to 3, which I think would be the preference, I think you're just trying to make sure you get Tate and at least sort out that position.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'm with the Saints, and similar pick here. Same school, same low position value with the safety. I'm going to go Caleb Downs to the Saints. Charlie said that the Saints really like Caleb Downs. There was a scare with him with his degenerative knee story. But that, as I said yesterday, Charlie talked to teams and like none of them said anything about that. And funny enough, the person who reported the degenerate knee story actually deleted his tweet. So I think that's probably like a nothing burger at this point. The Saints need secondary help. It's been pretty bad for them in the secondary. They've had a really good defense recently, mostly against the run. They have to get better against pass, and Caleb Downs will definitely let them do that. So Downs to the Saints at number 8.
Yeah, I agree that there's probably 4 or 5 directions the Saints could go here. I think Downs makes a lot of sense. We do know they love him. I think if Tate falls, this is probably where kind of his floor maybe. I could maybe see him falling to the Chiefs, but probably not past there. I think edge makes sense, and it wouldn't surprise me if Ruben Bain's the pick here as well. I feel like Bain is likely to go somewhere between 7 and 12 roughly. So this is very much in his region as well. But I do like the Downs pick. It feels like this is becoming solid value, even though he's a safety at this pick.
Yeah, it's the sort of draft where you throw positional value out the window, I think. Patrick asking Redskins take Styles or Tate, depending on who's available. Yeah, I think it would come down between those two. Unless something crazy happens. I'll say that, yeah.
I think it depends on how they feel about Bain as well. If they they believe in Bain, then edge rusher is probably more of a need for them. It's just I don't think a lot of teams think as highly of him for a number of reasons, as opposed to these two guys who are obviously better, but at least premium positions in the case of Styles.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. All right. So your Chiefs are on the clock at 9. What are they doing?
Yeah. So many needs. Even this morning, there were reports coming out about the possibility of O-line here, and I think that makes sense. I think this is Ruben Bain range as well. I could definitely see them taking Bain. I think Mansour Delane's potentially in play here as well. Even someone like a Kenyon Sadiq as well would make sense, but I'm going to go Fanu. I feel like we really need to get that O-line sorted and keep Patrick Mahomes healthy. The best way to do that is to bring him in, potentially replacing Josh Simmons at some stage, if not immediately, at tackle, but at least giving us a guard for the present with the possibility of kicking him outside when he proves he can do that.
Yeah, they need to protect Mahomes for sure, and they really missed what's his name? Tooney. They missed Joe Tooney last year. His versatility is huge. And when all those tackles went down, like they really could have used him in that spot, and they didn't have him. And they'll have the versatility there with Fano. But I mean, yeah, they could definitely go after defense too. They could go receiver. Like you're right, they have so many needs. It feels almost like Miami, where like Miami doesn't have needs in the backfield, but they have needs everywhere else. It's like the same thing with Chiefs. Like they have Mahomes, Walker, and then like they could go after almost any position at that point. So it's kind of crazy how suddenly they have so many needs. You know, it's a huge fall suddenly. Like
I remember when in my last year's mock, I wrote that it's shocking how many needs the Chiefs had when they were just in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and this year they have somehow even more needs, but it's actually showing because they were terrible last year. So
yeah.
But I feel like it's finally kind of coming to roost a little bit, and they need to do a little bit of a reset. I feel like this is the safest way to do a reset. I'm sure up your O-line, but I don't think wide receiver really makes sense to me. They've already got Rice and Worthy. I feel like they need to see what they can do with him when Patrick Mahomes is actually properly protected.
Yeah, Worthy he's been a disappointment so far, but yeah, I guess you can't give up on him yet. Give him another chance, I suppose. All right, let's get to 10. The Bengals are on the clock. They have to go best defensive player available. Their defense has been awful. Granted, a little bit better in the second half of the season last year. They were like 32nd or 31st in the first half, and they were 26th in the second half. So big improvement there for them. And I mean, who knows what they're going to take with 4 scouts? They probably think they have a chance at David Bailey, but maybe they go with another edge rusher. I'm going to mock Ruben Bain to them. I do not have Ruben Bain available in my mock draft to the Bengals, but if I did, then I think it would be difficult for them to say no, given that they lost Trey Hendrickson. So what do you think about this pick?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because it's not someone I've ever mocked to them, but it makes total sense. They really need to improve everywhere across their defense, and they're in a good spot for that because one of the defensive players will fall to them. It could be Bain, it could be Downs, it could be Delane. Maybe they even like McCoy, though I think probably not. And if all of those fail, there is the possibility that they go O-line as well, though I think that's less likely than those other options. So I love Bain here. I think Delane was the only other option.
Yeah. All right. You're on the clock with the Dolphins. As I said, lots of needs here for them.
Yeah, they can basically just go best player available because they have needs everywhere. For me, it kind of comes down to two options, and it's a case of who they think is going to be available with their next pick. So it's a question of, do they take a cornerback with Delane or McCoy? Do they take a wide receiver with Lemon or Tyson? They have spoken quite a bit about wanting high character players and trying to build build a base of players that are reliable, that are going to kind of take on that Detroit model of focusing on character over quality. Begs the question, who's the right guy for that? I personally like Jordan Tyson to them because he's more of an alpha receiver, but I don't know that he is that type of player. I don't know if he's that type of character. I feel like it's a little bit more Lemon. Having said that, I think they're more likely to be able to get a good wide receiver at pick 30. I think they might see a Cooper or a Boston fall to that point. I don't know that they're going to get a good cornerback there. They might get a Hood. They might get even a Johnson if they like him, but I'm going to go with Delane. It is really a toss-up. I think they could go either way, but I think cornerback and wide receiver are most likely, assuming that neither of the O tackles falls to them.
Yeah, I remember the Dolphins had great cornerback play with Jalen Ramsey a couple years ago, and now their cornerback play is Storm Duck and someone else. It's pretty bleak. They have nothing there. They have nothing anywhere except quarterback, running back. That's it. So yeah, they could really go after anything. Okay, Dallas on the clock. And if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm very disappointed because not only did my team not trade up, we also can't get the top cornerback on the board. Having said that, I do think Dallas will be trade up, but if they're stuck in this sort of situation, I think they have to go best defensive player available, and I think that would be Jermod McCoy. He's coming off the torn ACL, but from all accounts, he's progressing well, and he should be. It should be somewhat close to 100% next year, and then 100% the year after that, and onward. So Dallas couldn't stop the pass at all last year. They need cornerback help. I'm sure they would wish they had their pick of Delane and McCoy, if they like Delane more, obviously. But I've seen some people like McCoy more than Delane, so maybe they just like him instead. So if they stay put, I think cornerback will be one of their picks.
Yeah, it's a classic Cowboys situation where there are reports about a million different players to them because everyone wants to get the buzz of talking about the Cowboys. I know that Dane Brugler was saying just yesterday that the Cowboys are concerned about Jermod McCoy's knee, but that could mean absolutely anything. They've been linked with Falk. They've been linked with Mesidor. They've been linked with Bain. They've been linked with Downs. They've been linked with linebackers like Allen. Realistically, they just need an edge rusher and a cornerback for me. And if a linebacker's in the right spot for them, then they go and get him. And so I like the McCoy pick here. It's just going to be a question of how they feel about his health.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, if Dane said that they're concerned about McCoy, I would definitely believe him. He's a really good draft reporter. So, all right, you're on the clock with the Rams at 13. What are they doing?
It's got to be a wide receiver. It's just a question of which one. I don't really have a clear feel for which direction they go in. I think Lemon's probably a slightly better fit for them and what they need and the type of players they have. They don't really have that smaller slot guy. They've kind of got the after the catch guy in Nakua. They got the big bodied guy in Adams. I think Lemon probably is the guy that they can build with. Tyson's more of a big swing, and I don't think they need to take a big swing in this case. I think they just need to add a play that's going to be reliable for them and give them a chance to win now. So I'm going with Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah, and make sure that Puka Nacua stays away from those kangaroos in the outback. If he does go after them, it would be nice to have Lemon there, and it would be interesting to see what they think of his combine interviews because It happened a while ago, almost 2 months ago now, but we heard some bad things about his interviews. So we'll see. I mean, every team's different. If the Rams interviewed him and thought he was fine, then they won't care, obviously. But if he was weird with them, like he was with some teams that Charlie said, then maybe they don't take it. I don't know. It's so weird, that whole situation. But we haven't heard anything about that since. So maybe teams are okay with it. Okay, Ravens at 14. So a receiving option is, I think, the way to go. They lost their young tight end Isaiah Likely. They also lost Charlie Kolar. They needed a receiver too for a while, so Jordan Tyson makes sense. But Kenyon Sadiq is here. I think the Ravens like running those 2 tight end formations, and so I'm going to put Kenyon Sadiq to the Ravens to replace Likely, and then eventually replace Mark Andrews, because Andrews is, I don't know if he's 30. He's either like 29 or 30, I think, at this point, and he looks like he's slowing down. So this is their tight end in the future here.
Yep, love that pick. Think it makes a lot of sense. If I'm a Ravens fan, that's what I want to see for them. I think it also would have been logical to go for a Jordan Tyson here. I think that would have been reasonable. I do also remember Tony Pauline within the last week came out and basically said this is the floor for Vaguiwane. Which is surprising for me, because saying a guard has a floor at 14 seems insane to me. Having said that, I can imagine him going here or to the Bucks. But I personally prefer Sadiq. If I'm a Ravens fan, that's what I want to see with this pick.
We just saw Tyler Booker go 12 last year, so maybe he's onto something for sure. That's very interesting. Patrick says Javon McCoy has been flunked medically by some teams. Usually that means he can fall significantly. Wonder if there's some value with Johnson to be the second cornerback at plus 700 or Hood at plus 1200. I mean, there's so many corners though, right? There's Avion Terrell as well. There's Brandon Cisse. I feel like I'm missing someone else too, but there are a lot of them. I don't know which one. You could probably just spray some small bets all over the place and get it right if that's true. If McCoy has been flunked medically, which is weird, because I thought during the combine it was reported that he was progressing well, but I guess things have changed. I don't know. But we can look at those odds, I'm sure, when we get to them. But maybe something will stand out. Okay, so you're up with the Buccaneers at number 15. What are they doing?
I think they would have loved to have Kenyon Sadiq here, but he's not available. So they're going to have to go in another direction. I do know they like CJ Allen. I could see a situation where they trade down to get him. I think this is a little bit early for him, even though he definitely makes sense for them. For that reason, I am going to go with Vaguiwane. I think this is the kind of range that makes sense for him. I have heard them linked to him. I know it's pretty early, but it's a pretty safe option. They need to get that run game going again and protect Baker Mayfield a little bit better. I feel like they can do that with the guard just as well as they can with the tackle. Yeah,
I remember, positional value goes out the window in this draft because it's not very strong at the top. So, I mean, Awane, if Booker can go 12, Awane can certainly go 15. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's really interesting that Pauline said that. I mean, Pauline's great. He's had a great track record as being accurate with his reports. So, I feel like I have to move up Awane at this point. In my rankings. So anyway, number 16, the Jets. I think this is easy if it falls this way because Jordan Tyson's available. And I believe they did not meet with Jordan Tyson. So that means that he would be the pick because, it's been reported that they have shown a lot of interest in Omar Cooper. So that means he won't be the pick if they like to hide their intentions. So here we go. Jordan Tyson to the Jets. I assume this is just very easy if he's available, right?
Yeah, I love this pick. This makes a heap of sense. I have heard the Omar Cooper thing as well, but I also heard a clarifying report. I think it might have been Tony Pauline again, who said, yes, they love Cooper, but not at 16. So a whole heap of people, including Mel Kiper in his final mock, have mocked Cooper to them at 16. I think they're going to end up looking really silly when he's going in the 30s somewhere.
Crazy that Kiper's final mock is a week before the draft.
He does that every year. I don't understand why, but he's done it at least the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't know why.
Is he like going on vacation or like does he have obligations or something? I don't know. It's so strange. It's like all the teams don't have the draft boards set yet. Like I don't get it. But I mean, we have him to thank. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be talking about the NFL draft right now. But yeah, I don't get it. Like if I were his bosses, like no, you gotta do a mock draft like the week of, at least Monday. It was like Peter King used to do that. Like at least wait the weekend, CJ Allen plus 152 plus 200 most books. Is that what is that for a second linebacker?
First round, I think.
To what?
That's to be a first round pick.
Oh, to be a first round pick. Interesting. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Well, we'll talk to Charlie on Tuesday to make sure. Okay. You are up with the Lions at 17. So what's the pick here?
Yeah. I just realized I missed Keldrick Falk. I could have gone that way with the Bucks, but anyway, he'll be coming soon enough, I'm sure. With the Lions, every man and his dog is now mocking them. Caden Proctor. That seems to be the popular way to go, and I think it makes sense. Replace Tyler Decker with a guy who is absolutely enormous, and plenty of upside as well. For me, he doesn't feel like a character fit, and yet everyone has said that they love him in the Lions building. So I feel like this is the direction we're going to end up going.
Any tackle makes sense. I think the way that the Taylor Decker thing went down. Proctor, very logical pick there at 17. You mentioned Kendrick Falk was available. Let's put him here to the Vikings. Number 18. Minnesota needs defensive line help, and there's been reports that they might trade Jonathan Grenard. And so if he's gone, that's just a huge player missing on the defensive line, or really, at the edge to rush the passer. And if you're chasing the Lions with Jared Goff and an upgrade at right tackle, then you need someone to get after the quarterback if you want to pass the line. So Falk here at 18. I had Falk falling to 25, just kind of like out of circumstance. I feel like his range is like all over the place because he never really lived up to his billing at Auburn, but he has so much upside that like he could go as high as, I don't know, 10 or something, but I feel like he could fall as well to like 25. Do you agree with that? Like, I feel like he can go anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like his range is 10 to 25. I feel like it's going to depend on what sort of edge rusher teams want. Do they want that big edge setter, or do they want a speed rusher? Because he really is only going to make sense for teams that want that bigger guy. Having said that, there's plenty of teams throughout the draft that are going to want that sort of player. I don't think it's out of the question the Cowboys take him at 12, for example, but I could definitely see him falling well into the mid-20s. In fact, I could see a situation where all the edge rushers fall further than we expect. The guys that aren't those top couple. So that's a real question. I think with the Vikings, they're going to take edge or they're going to take secondary. It's just a question of which one. I think it makes sense to take Falk there, and because of that, I'm going to go a little bit off the book with the Panthers. I heard, and I can't for the life of me remember where, that if Dylan Thieneman gets past the Vikings, he's going to the Panthers. Okay. That surprised me a little bit, but I do know that a couple of people have said this is his general range where we're going to see him go. I'm not buying this idea that they're going to go wide receiver. That just seems insane to me. I don't understand it. I know that it's the bookie's favorite option there, and I just can't do it, especially because there's not an obvious wide receiver that's a value here. So I'm going Thieneman.
Okay. That's interesting. I'd love to find that report. Generally because safeties tend to fall. But again, the draft class is weird. And so I think I saw Thieneman's over under was 17.5. That's wild. That's pretty wild. Like,
I've already bet that.
The over, I take it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That seems like too easy. I feel like I'm getting tricked here. It's like one of those I guess you guys don't have the SAT. Do you know what that is?
We have like an equivalent.
Okay. Yeah. It's like the SAT is like a very easy question. You're like, wait a second. Like, I feel like I'm getting tricked here. That's what I feel. It's super juiced. Is it? I feel like it was like a pretty reasonable number. I don't know. Maybe I saw the wrong number. Maybe I saw the wrong number. I don't know. We'll look at it after this mock draft. Okay. Dallas at 20. I had to kind of remind myself what I had at 12. So they took a corner at 12, and I kind of regret that pick now with it's being told that there are issues with his knee. But anyway, if they do take a corner at 12 and they don't trade up, I think that taking an edge rusher makes a lot of sense. Now, unfortunately for them, they won't have Kedrick Falk in this mock draft. There are so many other edge rushers here who can go. There's Akeem Mesidor. You kind of have to wonder how he would have performed if Ruben Bain wasn't on the other side. There's Zion Young, who has some character concerns. There is Cassius Howell. I don't know where he is, but he has short arms. TJ Parker never lived up to expectations. So, like, I feel like they could really go after any of these guys. I have Zion Young over the other guys. If the Cowboys aren't worried about his character issues, then I think they could be fine with him at 20. I feel like some teams could be worried about this stuff because it's been multiple incidents with him. Dallas, they've taken on character guys before, so I think they'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes total sense. I personally would have gone with Mesidor because I feel like they believe they're in a win now window, whether they are or not. Yeah. And Mesidor is definitely that sort of player. But Young makes sense. It could be anyone, really. Yeah. We don't know, but I do expect they'll come out of the first round with an edge rusher. I also found out who had those reports. There were two. So Tony Pauline said that Thienemann's possible if he makes past the Vikings. And their own GM said that they were interested in a safety in the first round.
Okay. It's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for pulling that up. I'll have to add it to the rumor mill database. Yeah. Okay. So Steelers are 21. So what are they doing?
I know it's a tough one because they really need to go O-line, I think, here. I think that makes the most sense. But they could also go defensive tackle. Wide receivers being mocked to them quite a bit, but they've already got Pittman, and they tend to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. So I don't know if they really need 3 stud wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Ty Simpson? I'm just kidding.
I hoped Ioane would be here.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. I think that I'm going to go... It's the first one where I'm really not sure. I think I'm going to go O-line. Okay. I think I'm going to go with... Well, they need a guy who can play on the... Yeah. I'm going to go with Blake Miller.
Okay. Why? Any reason why him over the other lineman?
I thought about Freeling, but I feel like if they're going to go back and get Rodgers, I think that Miller's a little bit more ready to go.
Okay. I mean, I think any lineman would make sense for them. They definitely need to improve that area. Obviously, I think Ioane would be ideal for them because they lost Isaac Somalo, but they could move Miller inside for now and then see what happens later, and then move him back to tackle depending on what happens. So that definitely makes sense.
Who would you have taken there?
I think I probably either Miller or probably Freeling. But yeah, it really could have been. It could have been Lamo. Could have been not sure. It could have been. I feel like those two. Chase Basantis kind of like entered my mind because he's more of a guard. But it seems like a trade down situation if this is how the board falls for them, But we're not doing trades here, so.
Sure.
Anyway, all right. So Chargers at 22. They have their tackles coming back from injury. If tackle were an issue, Freeling would be an obvious pick. But they could go to the other side of the defensive line and take either Peter Woods or Caden McDonald. Charlie Campbell seems to like Peter Woods more than McDonald. I think in his previous mock he had Woods at 14. I want to say. I don't know where he has him in. He's going to have him in his new mock draft. I can actually pull that up and see where he has. He's going to in the next mock he has Peter Woods to 18 to the Vikings. So still in the top 20. And I think that makes sense. I think I have Peter Woods there as well. So Peter Woods here to the Chargers. They need to be able to pressure more from the interior. Mahomes has said in the past that he hates interior rush more than edge rush. and to help stop the run too, which has been an issue for the Chargers, especially when Denzel Perriman's not on the field, and you can't count on him to play all 17 games because he always misses time. So Peter Woods to the Chargers. So there we go.
Yep, love that pick. Makes total sense. That's exactly what I would have done there as well. Like that.
No, you could get Thieneman minus 150 on MGM, DraftKings minus 175. Okay, I feel like I saw it like shorter odds, but I guess minus 150 is still pretty good. It was minus 125 on DraftKings the other day. That didn't last long. Yeah, unfortunately, wish I could have seen that, but I can't see DraftKings odds in Pennsylvania. It sucks. Proctor had a Freeling's minus 115 on DraftKings. Think that's an amazing pick. A sprinkle on Freeling over 19.5 at plus 160. I like that. Charlie seemed to think that the Freeling wasn't really at all in the conversation of the top 2 tackles, and I think that everyone caught on to that now. But he was saying that like much earlier. Okay, so you're on the board with the Eagles at 23. So what are they doing?
Oh, sorry. I think my laptop just had a moment. Okay, I'm back. Okay, let's talk about the Eagles. I feel like it's going to be one of the lines or it's going to be a wide receiver. It's a question of which. Basically, all the wide receivers they could possibly want in this range have fallen to them. But a lot of the better O-linemen are here as well. So I feel like that O-line makes a little bit more sense. It is typically what they do. Having said that, they've really only drafted one O-lineman in the first round since they actually took Lane Johnson back in 2013. Do you remember who that was?
It was they were picking a 23, and he was a bust. I can't remember who it was. It was an athletic tackle. I forget his name.
Yep. It was Andre Dillard.
Dillard, right? And then they took. And I criticized the pick at the time because they had they had their current left tackle on the roster. And I said that it was a bad pick because because the what's his face Jordan Mailata had so much upside that I thought he could be a great starter, and like they were kind of like blocking Dillard. And an Eagles website, they're like, they criticized my analysis. They're like, it doesn't matter if they Mailata, Dillard's a great pick. I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, that was not a great selection, but yeah, I forgot his name, but yeah, I did remember that pick.
Yeah. Hey, look, we just appreciate you backing the Aussie. Honestly, I think that's the priority here.
Yeah. I mean, Mailata, when that pick was made, like he has so much athleticism. I just thought that like he had just great potential if they can mold him into it, and they obviously did. He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL. He's phenomenal. So yeah, that's definitely the praise in Aussie there. Burner says Peter Woods in round 1. Heard Daniel Jeremiah. Others say McDonald might be the only DT to go round 1. Look, Charlie Campbell has had him between 14 and 18, and he bases his rankings on what teams tell him. So teams think that Woods is a mid first rounder, so I'm going to believe that. Anyway, so you're what are the Eagles doing at 23?
So I am going to go with a guy that I think is going to take a little bit of time to develop. Makes sense for the Eagles. They don't need someone straight away. Well, let's go with Monroe Freeling. Snipe the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns would love Monroe Freeling there, I think. We know they like their Georgia players, right? So that would make a lot of sense for the Eagles to take Monroe Freeling. Okay, so the Browns are kind of sad right now that they didn't get Monroe Freeling because he's more of a left tackle than the other guys, but I still think that in true Browns fashion, they would still go tackle and kind of ignore that. I'm just going to mock them Caleb Lamu. I think they would like to trade down, or if they move down from 6, they'll be able to trade up and beat the Eagles to the punch and take Monroe Freeling a little earlier. So I can see that. But they desperately need a left tackle, and so maybe they would just try Caleb Lamu left tackle. Look, it's happened before. Teams have taken guys that who projected to be right tackles, they put them in left tackle, or vice versa. It's happened. So if team's going to do it, could be the Browns too. So Charlie said Lamu might sneak out first round. It's so fluid. It really is. Like he could go in late second or early second round, but he could also go in the 20s or early 30s too. So it's when I said this last night, I was like, once you get past the top 5 or 6 guys, like this whole draft levels out. And like, I really don't think there's much of a difference between pick 25 and pick 50. It really is. It's just it's deep, but it's so not top heavy. And so, yeah, it just falls off a cliff after that.
Yeah, I reckon when we're looking at our Fantasy Pros scores for our accuracy, it's going to be one of those situations where we get like 5 points total in the last 12 picks.
I know.
Because it's just so impossible to tell what teams are going to be doing. They're going to be trading up and down. There's going to be teams that we didn't even expect to be drafting in the last 10. There's going to be random players like Cole Strange going in this range. Mm-hmm. All sorts of stuff's going to happen. It's going to be really tricky. I guess the question for me is, if you're the Browns, would you rather have Carnell Tate and Caleb Lomu, or would you rather have, I don't know, Spencer Fanu and one of the available wide receivers?
I think I'd rather have the latter. I think I'd rather have Fanu and one of the receivers. Just because, there's no pure left tackle here outside of Freeling, and you might get stuck. Whereas, like, there are a bunch of receivers who can go here, and you have to identify the right one. But I'm sure, like, I would be shocked if none of these guys pan out and become really good pros. Like one of Cooper, Concepcion, where's Denzel Boston's here somewhere. There he is. Chris Bell I like too. Like one of these guys will be really good, I think. So trust your scouts, identify the best one, and draft that guy. And just take the sure thing at left tackle at 6. That's what I would do. What would you do?
Yeah, I agree. That wasn't originally the way I was thinking. In fact, the reason I changed to them having Tate at 6 was because I thought it would give them 2 better players. But the more I look at how the O tackles are going in a lot of mocks, and including my own, it's starting to look like the better tackles that we thought they might get at 24 aren't going to be there anymore. And I think it would make a lot of sense to go tackle first and then take the receivers that fall.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Yeah, Patrick saying, according to Schrager, multiple GMs told him that receivers go quicker than everyone has them. But so my thing with that is like where would they go? Sure, they could go 23, but like if it's earlier, then it's probably in the top 20. Like I don't see Dallas taking a receiver. Panthers, they just took one last year. Vikings with their 2 guys, I don't think so. Lions, no. The Jets, we have a receiver going there. Tampa just took a receiver last year. The Ravens could certainly do it. The Rams, we have one there. And again, Dallas, no. I think Miami could definitely take one. Bengals, no. Chiefs, sure. Saints, sure. So yeah, but like how high are Concepcion and Boston and Cooper going to go? Like is someone going to take Concepcion at 14 or like the Ravens take him or Boston? That seems like too early, So like, I get that like teams want to do it, or maybe they just trade up. I guess maybe that's the answer. But I just don't see like where they would go. It's just so difficult to slot them in the teens and early 20s.
Yeah, I agree. I think it assumes that someone's going to go a lot earlier than we expect. I think you need to start by assuming that Omar Cooper's going to go at 16, which I don't think is going to happen. And I think you have to assume that Jordan Tyson will be gone by the time the Jets are picking at 16. And then you have to assume that someone like the Vikings or the Panthers or the Steelers are going to take one. In fact, you need to assume that 2 of them are going to take one, or the Eagles. And I think the odds of even 2 of those teams taking one is pretty low. I would be shocked if one of the 3 wide receivers we're talking about now aren't ready for the Browns at this point.
Yeah, I do think we're going to see a crazy pick here in the 20s. I don't know who's going to do it. It's going to be some guy who's like round 3. We're like, what? Like a Cole Strange sort of deal. We're gonna be like, where did that come from? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait to grade a million to it. Steelers and Eagles love Cooper as well. I don't know. I guess I guess they could take him. The Steelers at the bad at Pittman, but I mean, how many times have we seen a team go after someone in free agency and then same position in the draft? Like it does happen a lot. So yeah, maybe they do it. Eagles could certainly take a receiver because they lost, or they're going to lose Brown, according to the top Patriots beat reporter. We know she's 100% accurate. So yeah, Cooper over 23.5 plus 160 seems easy. Feels trappy. Yeah, I think it's that, maybe that way because of the Jets Cooper news. So that might be why we're getting good odds. But yeah, I mean, if look at the Steelers and Eagles like him, then they could take him. I could see them doing that. I don't think it's a lock, but I would go over if I had to.
Yeah, I do remember yesterday Peter Strager saying that GMs were telling him that 16 was way too early for Cooper. And then Phil Yates chimed in and said he had him at 23 and he still had GMs telling him it was too early. But then he had other GMs telling him it was too late. So who knows? It could go either way. But if 16 is too early for Cooper, there's not that many teams that are going to want him before he gets to 23.
Right. Okay, you're on the board at number 25. So what are the Bears going to do?
Look, it's a good question. I think edge is a very good chance. I think O tackle would also make sense, but I personally like edge. Defensive tackle is also possible, I guess. I know quite a few people have mocked them as safety, and I think that's logical as well. I think it's more likely, though, that they go with an edge rusher. It's a question of which one. Or Caden McDonald. No, I'm gonna go Metador. I feel like this has got to be the floor for Metador. I think if Metador is still sitting there, that they're going to go with him. They're in a win now situation. He can come in straight away, help them immediately. I like that.
Yeah, they definitely need edge help. Their pass rush was so bad last year. They one of the worst pressure rates in the NFL. So any edge rusher, it makes sense. I put Zion Young there before. I have Kedrick Falk there now. Could definitely be Metador. Could be Cassius Howell. Like any pick makes sense for the Bears. They have 2 second-round picks as well, so they could trade up. Okay, the Bills are on the clock. They added DJ Moore via trade. I never asked you about that. Did you like the DJ Moore trade for the Bills?
Not really.
Really? Okay.
Why not? I don't hate it. I don't know. I just don't love DJ Moore. I feel like he has tended to be he's struggled ever since he left Panthers. Like I don't really understand. He wasn't that great for the Bears. I don't know that he's really going to fit in. He's not Stephon Diggs. He's a different type of player. I don't think he really gives them what they're looking for.
Okay. I like the trade. But as I talked before, we see all the time teams add a player free agency / trade, and then they go same position in the draft to make sure they turn a weakness into a strength. And I think they go receiver here. Question is it going to be Cooper? Is it going to be Boston? Is it going to be Concepcion? I'm going to put Boston here. I think he has an incredible upside. And I think they would kind of like to swing in that way. But really, it could be anyone. I hope we get intel on the Bills we have in the past. I don't know if Charlie still has connections there, but that would be nice to kind of discern between the receivers. Although if we know they like the one receiver, it's possible he could be off the board. So it may not even matter when you get into the 20s. It's so hard to predict picks in the 20s,
Yeah, I agree. I think Boston's probably a good chance there. There's been a few reports recently that he is going to end up somewhere in the first round. I know for a while there were people saying teams don't consider him a top 5 wide receiver, but I think he's clearly a top 5 wide receiver. I think he should go somewhere in the first round. It's impossible to work out where. It could be here, it could be the 49ers, it could be a little bit later, but I think that's a good pick.
Yeah. Okay, you're on the clock with the Niners at 27.
Yeah, I don't really think that wide receiver makes sense here, and yet it seems to be a very popular option. I would personally prefer to see them go O-line. I guess it really depends on how they feel about how long they're going to get Trent for. I think also edge makes a lot of sense. I also don't think quarterback's totally out of the question either. What edge rushers do we have left?
We have Cassius Howell, and who else? TJ Parker, Gabe Akis, Malachi Lawrence.
I'm gonna go with Concepcion.
Okay.
I don't feel great about it, but they seem to be saying over and over again that they're going to take a wide receiver. I don't know if that's just smoke, but it seems to be the popular rhetoric coming out of San Fran.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, Evans is 34. Pearsall through 2 seasons has not been able to stay healthy. And then Ayuk is going to be traded, and Jennings is going to be traded or cut. So, yeah, I think the receiver is definitely in play for them. But they could definitely go in other directions too. Depending on what they think about Trent Williams coming back. Edge rush was a big issue for them last year. Defensive tackles the need, even though they traded for Digazua. I think they could go a number of directions here, 27. So, but I do like Concepcion there.
Yep.
Okay, Texans at 28. I think this is offensive tackle or defensive tackle. And I noticed Caden McDonald is still available. So I'm going to put McDonald to the Texans. They obviously have a great edge rush. Defensive tackle could be upgraded, and teams sometimes like to strengthen a strength. And they already had a great pass rush. What if it's even better next year? And why not? I think that might be appealing to them. And McDonald is someone who could go as high as 18. So I think this is a decent value for them.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. It's going to be O-line or D-line. If it's something else, I'd be very shocked. I also would be quite surprised if they actually pick here. I think they're a prime candidate to trade back. But assuming they like what they see, that makes sense. It's also possible they go interior O-line, take someone like Besantis. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see them take an O-tackle here or do what they did here and take a McDonald. I like that pick.
Yeah. Boss, are you, Charlie, going to have other possibilities in your market? It's funny you ask, because I'm working on that right now. Not literally right now, but before this video and afterward, we're going to have it tomorrow morning. So you'll be able to see it then. Pauline says Boston's receiver 3 or 4. That makes sense. And then Mike says Walt has a steady stream of great co-hosts lately. Thanks, Walt. Well, thanks to Ben and everyone else for coming on. Thank you. I said it before. I've said it like I've never disliked a co-host I've had on the show. I feel like we've had great guests. I can't ever remember being like, oh, I didn't like having this person on. So yeah, Ben's awesome. I love having Ben on. When Ben texts me, he's like, I'm on holiday. I'm like, yes, let's go. I love having you on the show. So anyway,
I was looking at our text before I came on last week, and I was like, was I really last on in like July? I was like, we've got to change that.
It's been a while. Yeah. It was a while. And when that Australia game was announced, I'm like, oh, I said on the show, I'm like, oh, I wonder what Ben thinks about this. and then yeah, you texted me. So yeah, we need more holidays in Australia.
It's going to happen. We're not letting it go 9 months again or whatever it was last time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. You are up with your Chiefs again at 29. I guess it's a good thing.
Can you remind me who I took at 9? I think I took
Lamu, I think. Fano, not the other detail.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
I think edge makes a lot of sense. I think cornerback makes a lot of sense. Wide receiver is popular, but I don't like it, and so I'm not going to do it, even though it might happen, just out of principle. I am going to go cornerback. It's just the question of which one. I know Chris Johnson is a real riser. I personally like Holden Hood a little bit better. Do you know why Terrell was really popular as a first-round mock like a month ago, and all of a sudden no one's talking to him? But I haven't actually heard any news. He's just disappearing from mocks. Do you know what's going on?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing when I have Terrell going to Miami in my mock, and when I looked at that the other day, I'm like, there's been no buzz on this guy at all. Maybe that's a good thing for him. Maybe teams aren't talking about him because they secretly like him. Terrell has injury issues. Okay, I haven't heard that, but okay, I'll look into that. Yeah, I don't know. We can always ask Charlie on Tuesday as well. So, where does Charlie have Terrell? Let's look in his Monday.
I think he has him at 29.
In his and the new one that will be posted Monday, he has him 33 to the Jets. So it's in the range,
in the same range. Yeah, I'm really torn about who to take, but I'm going to go with Chris Johnson because I know he's a real riser. I think that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yes. Yeah. I think any corner makes a lot of sense. They lost their whole secondary this offseason. This is crazy. I've never seen so many departures from one area, you know?
Yeah.
And they were already struggling against the pass, and they lost their best defensive backs. It's crazy. He pulled his hamstring this pro day. Okay, if it's just a pulled hamstring, I don't think teams are going to be too worried about that unless they think it's like chronic or something. I think that's fine. You know, if he hasn't worked, maybe that's why there's been no buzz because he hasn't worked out. I guess that's it. Okay, I'm on the clock with the Dolphins at 30. You have them taking the lane, so they will not be taking a corner. But I feel like they have to exit the first round with a receiver because their receivers currently are Theo Wees Jr., Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, and Tutu Atwell. Like, and do you think Malik Willis came over and is like, wait a second, maybe I have regrets now. Maybe I should have gone with another team. So
no, he's asking for a 600-yard rushing bonus.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Yeah, he's gonna be running every play. It's great, or just dumping the ball off to Achan or Dulcich over the middle. Yeah, so they have to go receiver. So we had Boston off the board. We have Concepcion off the board. The next two receivers are Cooper and Bell. I actually like Bell a lot, but Cooper seems to be higher, so we'll put him here to the Dolphins. Yeah, I mean, I assume that you think they have to go receiver as well with the one of their two first round picks.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really trying to win now, so I don't think they desperately need to. There are other ways they could address that, but if they went offensive tackle here, for example, I wouldn't be criticizing them too heavily, but I feel like if they're going to truly see what they've got in Malik Willis, they need to give him someone to throw to. Yeah. And Cooper could be that number one if it all pans out.
Yeah, that's why I think they almost have to do it because they paid this guy and he's a young quarterback, and you know it would be a shame if he busted for them only because he had no one to throw to. You know, like just you have to give him a chance. Like, you can't acquire a quarterback and just get rid of your receivers. It just doesn't make any sense. So, if they don't go receiver in the first two rounds, I think their next two picks have to go be receivers. Like one in the first two or two in the top four. Their other picks are after 30, 43 and 43, 75, 87, 90, and 94. Okay, yeah, they've like a million third round picks. So, I would think like they'd have to take receiver 43 and then one in the second round and one in the third round. You know,
yeah, so totally agree.
Okay, yeah, the Patriots are on the clock, so this is your final pick. What are they doing? What are they doing here?
Look, everyone's talking O-line here, except for the bookmakers, who are, in my opinion, wrong here. I think it's highly likely to be O-line. I think Ian Attrell makes a whole lot of sense. If he's available, he might not be, but I still think that they need to do everything they can to protect Drake May. There certainly are other possibilities. I know that you and a couple of other people have gone McNeil Warren. I would be very disappointed if that happens because I've got the under on 2.5 safeties in the first round for quite a bit. Yeah. So that better not happen. So I'm going to go Ian Attrell.
Okay, that's not any source information, so I still like that bet, even though I have McNeil Warren going there. It's just I ran out of tackles in my mock draft, so I was like, okay, what else is there? So if Ian Attrell was there, I would have mocked him, but he was not. Yeah, I think I had him going 28 to the Texans. Yeah, it has to be tackle. I mean, Drake May was sacked at least 5 times in every playoff game, and I forgot to do it, sadly, but Evan, who comes on the show on Thursdays during the season, he laddered sacks taken by May. Like, I think the over under was like 4.5 or something. So he took 5+, and he bet 6+, 7+, 8+, and 9+ in the Super Bowl. And it's so ridiculous. Like he was sacked 9 times, but what happened was the I don't know if you remember the fumble he had. It looked like a fumble, but the ball never hit the ground, so it was an interception. And so it was taken. That was the pick six. Because it was an interception, it wasn't ruled as a sack, even though it looked like a strip sack fumble. So it should have been 9. He should have hit everything on the ladder, but he only went up to 8+ and not 9+, which is, I feel like he was robbed. Like that's the bad beat, I think. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Okay, so you have not sure there. Seattle, the Super Bowl champions, on the clock at 32. Seattle takes their top 30 visits seriously. I know that for sure. Just because they met with someone or haven't met with someone doesn't mean that they can't pick them. However, I think for Seattle, it's important to look at which positions they met with. And if you run down the positions they met with 3 positions. So they met with running backs, which I don't think will be the pick at 32. I think it'll be the pick at 64. They met with the edge rushers, and there aren't that many left. And they've also met with cornerbacks. They've met with like almost every cornerback that you can imagine who could go at number 32. I want to list this right here. The cornerbacks they met with Brandon Cisse, who could go here. They met with AJ Halsey, who's probably second or third round. They met with Colton Hood. They met with Javon Kilgore, more of a corner safety in the second round. They met with I think there's someone else. I can't find the name, but Stooks, another one. They met with a lot of cornerbacks, and I think it'll be one of Hood or Cisse. I think both fit well for them. They lost Tariq Woolen free agency. I know that like he wasn't playing as much late in the year, but still, it's I still think they need a better cornerback across from Devon Witherspoon. So I'm going to go Colton Hood to them, but it could easily be Cisse. And if one of the edge rushers falls to them, and we lost our mock, where to go? There we go. Full results. This is nice. We got the whole first round here. Let me see if we could put it on the screen here. If one of the edge rushers falls to them, like Mesidor or Zion Young, I think that's definitely a possibility. I think it's too early for Jadarian Price, but if one of the edge rushers doesn't fall to them, I think cornerback is the pick. What do you think about Seattle's pick here?
I agree. I'd be absolutely shocked if it's a running back. I think a trade back's very possible. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they trade back and get someone like Stooks. So I think it's more of a early second round guy for me. Colton Hood has been a favorite mock to Seattle for me, but I started moving him a little bit higher and heavily considered him at 29 there. So I love that pick. Edge rusher, definitely not out of the question, but for me, it's cornerback or edge rusher. The only other possibility, maybe a guard, potentially. I know that they've talked to a couple. They talked to, I think it was Bisontis or someone like, or Pregnone, for example. But other than that, I think they're the most likely picks.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll look at some draft odds next. We have to I have to stop screen here, so you'll see a close-up of us for a brief second here, and there we go. Share screen, and we have to go to a different browser because I can't look at odds here in Pennsylvania. It's like, okay, I get like I can't bet it in Pennsylvania, which I still like vehemently disagree with. Like, you can't let me see the odds, like so stupid. Like I don't know. Anyway, so
I have the same issue. I used to be able to look at all of the American odds, and now I can't see a thing. Very annoying. Really,
that's so stupid. I don't know if I said it last night on the show. Maybe I said it before I started recording. DraftKings sent me a survey, and they said, we'll give you $5 if you complete the survey. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm watching NBA playoffs, whatever. I'll complete the survey. And one of the questions was, I think the survey was mostly about Kalshi, like how interested you are in Kalshi / Poly Market, like why do you like them, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, they're like, do you have any notes? And I'm like, I need to go on Kalshi because they have draft odds. And then I said, if Kalshi can allow me to bet draft odds in Pennsylvania, why can't you do it? Figure it out. That was it. And they sent me the $5 today. So I hope they looked at it, and I hope they fix it, because seriously, if Kalshi can do it, why can't they do it? Like, figure out a way. Like, come on, DraftKings, FanDuel, etc. So, anyway,
And I think you need to take those $5, go over to Kalshi and bet it on them.
I know exactly. Anyway, so I have all these tabs open because I can't look at a new tab here because I'm once again in Pennsylvania instead of in New Jersey here. So this is top 5. This tab is top 5 picks. We can skip the first one if you want to bet. If you want to bet this, you can bet. You can bet $1,000 to win $5. If you want to tie up your money, there you go. Number 2, and we kind of already talked about this with Reese. Minus 130, Bailey plus 100. I bet Bailey at I would say plus 140 or plus 150 earlier on Kalshi. I still like I think the pick will be Bailey. A gun to my head. I don't know. And we could tie in number 3 pick as well, which is we should talk about also Reese plus 150, Bailey plus 155. And then Love plus 750, Mount Noah 650. Anything stand out to you here at 2 or 3?
I think if you're going to bet Bailey at 2, you're better off betting Reese at 3. Because I think there's more chance of Bailey falling than Reese falling somehow. I feel like Reese's floor seems to be 3. I'm not sure that that's Bailey's floor.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. Or both. Why not both? Okay, so pick number 4, we have Jeremiah Love plus 100, which is nice because I believe he's like minus 105 on Kalshi. Bailey plus 500, Styles plus 600, Reese plus 600. What are you doing it for here?
I've bet Love. I think Love makes the most sense here. I think I got odds. I think I got plus 150 when I did it, but that was quite a while ago. I think it makes the most sense here, and I think it's a bit well better than 50% chance. The only other possibility for me is really Styles. You could put a little bit on Styles if you wanted to. I guess the only question is, what are the odds of Bailey or Reese falling to this point? Mm-hmm. And even if Bailey falls, do they take him? I don't know. I'd rather just go Love.
Yeah, I believe I got Love at like plus 135 or something, maybe plus 140. So yeah, it's still good. I think it's still a good bet at plus 100. If you haven't done it yet, you can do it. Let's look at BetMGM very quickly to see. They don't order this same way. Actually, maybe they do. Number 4, Love is plus 110 here. So there you go. Better number. Always shop around. I always say this. If you have access to all these books, just try to get the best number. And I always say, if you want a TV, you just go to the first store. If you're rich and don't care, I guess it's fine. But if money does matter to you, then you need to shop around and look for the best deals. Number 5, we have Sonny Styles plus 175. This is the Giants, by the way. Downs plus 330. Manoa 380. Love 550. Carnell Tate 10-1. Fano 18-1. Delane 18-1. Tyson 22-1. I believe you can get a better number of Tyson to Kalshi. We'll check that in a second. And then I was looking for Lemons 35-1. What are you thinking here for the Giants?
It's so hard to know exactly what they're going to do. The problem is there's 2 possible tackles they might take. Love might go. Downs is an outside chance. They would never bet him. Styles seems to be the most likely, but still unlikely. The only odds that actually really interest me there is Fanu, because you're getting such incredible odds for a guy that I think is probably at least a 10 to 15% chance of going there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I said this yesterday. I think there's definitely a method to make money here because I don't think it's gonna be Styles or Downs. I think they want a player to help Dart. So Manoa, Love, Tate, Fano, Tyson, Lemon. I don't think Awane, but still, I think it's gonna be one of those guys. And we're gonna get info on this for sure. So definitely look out for that. I wanted to look at Kalshi. Well, hold on. I think you know what. I'm not logged in. It's gonna be weird here. I got a complaint on Twitter yesterday, saying that it's like, hey, you could change to American odds, right? I'm like, I had no idea. So, but yeah, I think you have to be logged in. And on this web browser, I do not have Kalshi, but for draft pick 5, I just want to see what the odds are on Tyson and Lemon real fast. So we have here we go. are they? Tyson is actually no, it's not. It's not. He's only plus 615. That's a ripoff. And then Lemon is. I think this is gonna be better potentially. Okay, he's yeah. That's you can win $10,000 on a $100 bet. That's plus. It's definitely better than 35 to 1. It's 100 to 1 here. So, yeah. So it's crazy how much of a difference it is. The Tyson number is so much worse. This one's so much better. So, yeah. Well, we'll have the info, and like I said yesterday, we'll have the draft, Charlie's draft prop picks on the site before the video that we post on Tuesday, the live stream, but they will be under premium subscription. Just so we don't, because what happens if we make it public? Everyone's going to run to it, and no one's going to get good odds. So, like the most dedicated readers / listeners will have the first dibs on betting it, and then, like I said, Charlie will make it public on Tuesday evening, and then if Charlie wants to add anything, we'll have he'll add to that page, on Wednesday and Thursday. But yeah, just. Because it's crazy how much he moves the line. Like, he moved the Membu line to the Raiders from plus 245 to plus 110 in an hour and a half. It's just crazy. Styles is plus 250. Fano's 22 to 1 on FanDuel at 5. That's FanDuel's that 22 to 1 is interesting. What was it on? What was it on DraftKings? Fano was 18 to 1. Okay, so yeah, definitely a better number there. All right, let's go to the tab. The 6 to 10. The Browns pick at 6. The Tate is the favorite, plus 175. That's what we had in our mock draft. Styles 4 to 1. Tackles are Fano 475, Freeling 600, Mauno 600. Seems like a misprice on Freeling there. And then you have some longer shots here. If you think it's gonna be one of the other receivers, Lemon is 40 to 1. And Tyson Tyson's 18 to 1. So what do you think about the 6th pick?
I mean, firstly, you're getting a lot of help from Freeling being a possibility for the Browns, because there was that news early on that the Browns love Freeling. Everyone assumed it was with pick 6, which it never was. And as a result, the odds on Freeling have been incredible. I remember at one point Freeling was plus 200 or something along those lines. And it just made Mauanoa and Fanu really easy to bet. And that was to be the first tackle. That wasn't even to go to the Browns. So as a result, it kind of skews all the other odds. I think Fanu here is a little bit interesting, but that's certainly tightened up since I last looked at it. My favorite one here is the possibility that maybe someone jumps up to get David Bailey if he falls. Or jumps up to get somebody at this pick. I feel like this is the type of spot. We know the Browns want to move down. The Cowboys supposedly want to move up. If they can't get up to the Cardinals, potentially if it goes Reese, then Mauanoa or Love, then there's a possibility Bailey starts to fall and ends up down at 6. Is that enough? Is 40 to 1 enough for that? Maybe. I would start thinking about it there, but it's so hard to work out what to do with this outside Fanu. Tape's not terrible at those odds, but the odds of them trading down is enough that it makes me a little bit nervous.
Browns on Proctor as well. I would think that's more of 24, not 6, right? I think 6 would be too rich for Proctor. But
I think that would be for a trade down.
Trade down, yeah. If they trade with Dallas, yeah, I think that would be perfect there. Okay. Pick 7, which is the Redskins. Styles plus 250, Love 250, Tate 330, Bain 550, Delane 650, down 750. You picked Styles 250, so that's the favorite. What are your thoughts on pick 7?
Hey,
yeah, it doesn't look good. Nothing there.
It's real tough.
Yeah,
I think Bain's possible because we do know they like the idea of an edge rusher, but they like half a dozen different things. I don't love any of that at all.
Yeah, I agree. Pick 8, the Saints. Bain 350, Delane 400, Tyson 425, Tate 450, Downs 14 to 1, Lemon 14 to 1, McCoy 15 to 1, Styles 16 to 1, Sadiq 18 to 1. What are your thoughts here? One guy really stands out to me.
The only guys I've bet here are Downs and Tyson, but I can't remember why I bet Downs. But I think he's very interesting here, Downs. I originally had Tyson at plus 1,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's really tightened up, which surprises me a lot. They must have been impressed by what they've seen since then.
Yeah.
But Downs is interesting here, I think.
Oh yeah.
Lemons. Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, I thought that was Tate that was going at 1,400. Yeah, no, Downs. I like Downs.
Yeah. Charlie told me the Saints like Downs. That said, he could be off the board. And also, I do want to hear what Charlie says over the weekend. But if he posts on the site that he likes Downs at 14-1, then I will definitely be heading out to Jersey to bet it. I don't know what the odds are on Kalshi. If they're similar, then I don't have to do it. But 14-1 seems great for that. Number 9, which is your Chiefs. He might fan us to them 5-1. You have Bain 3-1, Delane 475, Tyson 550, Malinoa 950, Downs 11-1, Sadiq 12, Tate 12, Freeling 15, Styles 16, Goy 16, Lemon 18, and then everyone. There's a longer shot. What do you think about this one?
It's interesting that Fanu's so much more likely than Malinoa there. Because I can see a situation where Fanu gets taken at 5 or 6, and then Malinoa falls to here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this was kind of be his floor. I think if Malinoa gets to the Chiefs, they're probably taking him, and I could see him getting past the Giants and Browns, especially the Browns trade down. So that's not terrible odds. Having said that, they're not incredible either. Everything here kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really see anything here. We might get info on this, but a Chiefs source kind of dried up recently. Number 10, this is the Bengals. So best player available defensively. I put who did I put some Bain? Where's Bain here? Is he not here? Okay. If 550, I looked my mouse there and I skipped over where the mouse was. Downs 3-1, Delane 475, Bain 550, Styles 8-1, McCoy 11-1, Fano 12-1, Malinoa 14-1, Proctor 16, Freeling 17, Sadiq 18, Thieneman 19, Awane 20. What are your thoughts on the Bengals at 10?
Everything kind of makes sense there.
Yeah,
I mean, Delane's my favorite based on the numbers, but I would not bet him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tend to get info on the Bengals, but like I've said a couple of times, they have no idea who's going to go anywhere. They thought they're going to get Will Campbell at 17 last year, so I'm ready to hear. Oh, I think we can get Bailey at 10. It's like, come on, like you guys have zero idea what's going on, right? Like no clue. I guarantee it's gonna be one of Bailey or Reese. Like we love Bailey and Reese. We can get them at 10. That'd be fantastic. It's like, can you give me some good information, please? All right. So there's a tab that says 11 to 15. I was very excited. I'm like, I haven't seen this, but it's only 11. So I don't know why it's just 11 to 15, just 11. So the Dolphins at 11. We have Delane 350, Fano 475, Malinoa 550, Downs 650, Bain at 50. Lemon 10-1, McCoy 10, Tyson 10, Freeling 12, Proctor 15, Awane 18, Ty Simpson 20. Who'd we have to the Dolphins? Actually, it's on the other
we had Delane, I think.
Yeah, I believe you're correct there. Yeah, we had Delane there. So Delane is he's the favorite 350. So what do you think happens here for Miami?
I mean, I think it really shows what we think about the Dolphins. They have so many needs, and we don't know exactly which players will fall. I think it would be a bit of a surprise if Downs makes it to there, which means that should make the odds of everyone else a little bit better. The problem is, you could say, well, they might go wide receiver, but then you have to kind of take Tyson and Lemon, and all of a sudden that ruins your odds a little bit. But it wouldn't be crazy just to bet a little bit on both Tyson and Lemon. I personally like Tyson better, but I can't discount the possibility of Lemon either.
Yeah. The boss asking random about how did Charlie get the Cardinals pick wrong last year? Dracky always comes in the clutch. Yeah, Dracky's awesome. I remember Charlie and I were talking about that because we knew that they liked what's his name's slipping my mind. The guy they took in the first round last year. And because Charlie thought that he would go earlier, like he heard that it's a possibility that he would go earlier. Walter Nolan, that's who it was. So, yeah, there was buzz at the Niners like Nolan at like 9. And that wasn't one of our sources, but that was out there. And so I think Charlie may have put him earlier. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, I think Charlie just didn't think that Nolan would be there. And I was just like, my philosophy is like, if I hear a team likes a guy, I'm just going to put him there, even though he might go earlier, because at least I know that team likes him. Sometimes it'll happen where he's off the board and I'll feel bad about it. But, like, this is an example from a while ago now, when the Texans liked Will Fuller. They loved Will Fuller. They got him in the 20s. And I was told that they absolutely loved him, but they also didn't think that they'd have a chance to get him. It's like the opposite of the Bengals, So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put Fuller to them, because, like, what if the other teams don't like him and the Texans just get him? And that's what happened. They got him, and yeah, that's what happened. So that's how I approach it. Unless I hear another team earlier likes the same player, I will just put that player to the team I know that likes them. So. Okay, so unfortunately there's no 12 team. Maybe they set up this tab with the intention of putting that later, so we'll see. Maybe in the coming days they'll add the 12 to 15. I wish they would do that with everything, but anyway, player over under.
Have we heard from Mike Jurecki, by the way? Have we heard anything about the Cardinals?
Yeah, he said that the Cardinals are desperate to trade down. He meant, I was like, he mentioned Bailey as a possibility if they stood there. He didn't mention Reese. He said Bailey, but he said trade down for Maunoa at 12. So, he said 12 and 20, get Maunoa. He didn't tell me 20. I assumed 20 would be Simpson. They do like Simpson. I don't think they'd risk Simpson being off the board, going to 34 or trying to trade up past the Jets. I think they would, if they like him, I think they would just take him at 20. But that's maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, we have player over unders here. KC Concepcion 24.5 overs plus 130, unders minus 175. How many of these they have? They have about 12 or so. Let's do like 3 at a time. And if we like anything, we'll talk about it. Caleb Downs over 9.5 is plus 140. Under is minus 185. And then Carnell Tate over 7.5 is plus 165. Under 7.5 is minus 210. I like Downs under 9.5 a lot, but minus 185 kind of stings. I would try to shop around and see if I can get something in the neighborhood of like minus 150, minus 160. I think I'd be okay with betting that. I'm pretty confident in Downs being top 9. The other one's not really crazy about. What do you think about the first 3?
The only one that jumps out is the over and Concepcion, but I don't feel strongly about it at all.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, if the report that Traeger said that the receivers are going to go earlier, so yeah, maybe be careful with that. But yeah, I would go over as well at the moment. The next 3 are Chris Johnson over 32.5 is plus 135. Under 32.5 is minus 180. Dylan Thieneman over 17.5 is minus 165. Under 17.5 is plus 130. And Jeremiah Love over 5.5 is plus 125. Under 5.5 is minus 165. But as Patrick told us in the chat, the under minus 5.5 is minus 140 at FanDuel. So again, pays to shop around. I do like the under minus 140 at FanDuel. I'm like slightly considering going to New Jersey right now after the show, but there's a lot of work to do, so probably not. Maybe over the weekend. Dylan Thieneman over 117.5. I think that seems kind of easy. I don't know. Is he going to go in the first 17 picks? Like, I don't think the lines will take him. So like, why is he 17.5? And then Chris Johnson, I'm not really sure about. What do you think about these next 3?
I mean, the over on Thieneman and the under on Love are the obvious ones. You want to get better than minus 165, though. I don't know what the number would need to be for me to be interested. I think when I got Thieneman, it was about minus 130. And I think that's around where I'd feel comfortable. With Love, I would want a little bit better than that. But even if it's minus 165, I feel like it's quite unlikely he's going to fall past 5.
Yeah. I wish they had these over-unders on Kalshi, but it's like the one thing they don't have. Okay, next 3. This works out perfectly. It's actually exactly 12. Kenyon Sadiq over 15.5 is plus 100. Minus 15.5 is minus 130. Monroe Freeling over 19.5 is plus 160. Under 19.5 is minus 215. And then Awane over 14.5 minus 175. Under 14.5 is plus 135. If Tony was it Tony Pauline? It said it's true. Then the under 14.5 for Awane looks great because he said that the Ravens is the floor for him. And I could see that happening because Booker went 12 last year. I think Awane is a better prospect than Booker, honestly. I wasn't a big fan of Booker coming into the NFL. Sadiq, I think I'd go under. I think he goes in the early teens. And honestly, if he goes like 8 or 9, I wouldn't be shocked either. But I think he goes in the early teens. And Freeling, I think I would go over. There's been so much optimism about him, and I think that was I think people are being misled there, and I like the plus 160 a lot. So what do you think here?
Yeah, I agree. I've already bet both Ioane and Sadiq. For some reason, I got Sadiq's under at plus 140, so that's obviously shifted a mile since then. Ioane I got at plus 135 on the under, and I still quite like that. But Freeling's my favorite there. I think plus 160 on the over is crazy. And I would bet a reasonable amount on that.
Yeah. Who would it be if Mount O has gone it by 12? I didn't ask him that. I assume they need a right tackle badly. I think Proctor's possibility. I know that he did a mock draft. He posted it on X about a month ago, so it's outdated, obviously, by now. But he had Ian Otshore in the trade down, I believe, in that same range. I don't know. I can't remember if it was exactly at 12, but he did have the Cardinals moving down and taking Ian Otshore. So they want to tackle, and they just think 3 is too early for a tackle. So that's why they want to trade them. They don't have a right tackle on the roster right now. It's just some like practice squad guy. So they really need to bolster that, especially if they're going to add Simpson. Like they need to make sure they have someone who can play the position. And yeah, I think it would be Fano, but yeah, Fano could be gone too. So either Ian Otshore or a Proctor. I would say one of those two guys. Love is minus 150 for top 5 on FanDuel. This is probably most likely we get way more juice next week. Yeah, I think that number will just go up. I think. Sadiq under 15.5 was plus 140. Yeah, this is what you were saying. Plus 140 a few days ago. You have to be quick, not last minute. I'm always last minute because I have to go to New Jersey. Like gas is expensive these days, and I have a lot of work to do. So plus I always have to worry about like what if my son wakes up at night and starts crying, and then my wife's like, "Where's Walt? Where's Walt?" Like there's always that possibility too. I like to make my trips fast, so like I know exactly when I want to bet. So I'm only in the parking lot for like 5 to 10 minutes. Plus, it's not a safe neighborhood. Like the Trenton Thunder baseball stadium is very, very sketchy neighborhood. I do like that they have cameras there, but you couldn't. Like I'm kind of a little scared there. Like I turn off all my lights and stuff. Like I just don't want to be known to be there. So
yeah, a car having no lights on makes it way less sus.
Yeah. So yeah, it like if for some reason, if you ever go there, you'll be like, oh man, there's like Walt drove through this neighborhood every Wednesday. It's like, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you got the plus 140. You guys are lucky you can bet it. So I can't do that. And like I said, Kalshi has other stuff, but they don't have over unders, so couldn't bet that one. All right, the last trio here. We have Omar Cooper over 23.5 is plus 150, under 23.5 is minus 200. Ruben Bain over 8.5 is minus 320. Under 8.5 is plus 230. I have to think that was influenced by the latest, the incident we learned about. And then it's Sonny Styles over 5.5 minus 115. Under 5.5 is minus 115. I think Sonny Styles over 5.5 is really interesting because that he could only go 5 in the top 4. Like I don't see him going in the first 4. Now he could go 5, but I really don't think so. So I think the over 5.5 looks good there. Bain, I would love to bet the over 8.5, but minus 320 is just such a tough number to bet. And then Cooper, I think the over looks good to me. I'm kind of surprised the under is so juiced. There was the report about the Jets, but then it was cleared up that it wasn't 16. So why is that plus 150? I like that. That almost seems too easy to me. But then again, we did have to have a report that the receiver is going to go earlier, so we'll see. And yeah, as we said before, I think Patrick brought up that the Steelers and Eagles like him, so maybe I won't touch that one. What do you think about these three?
I have already bet Cooper at plus 150. The Bane's interesting, but I don't know that I actually want to bet either side of it. I think he probably is over 8.5, but that is very juiced. Yeah. And then the over 5.5. I think it makes sense. There have been enough reports that the Titans like Styles that for me to be a little bit nervous. But I think that if you bet Styles over 5.5 and then just bet Styles at 5, you're probably going to get pretty good odds.
Yeah, well, what are those numbers? Let's see real fast. Styles of plus 175. Yeah, that's you can arbitrage that very easily. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a good point. Real quick on this minus 320. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Steve Fezzik?
No.
He was the only he's the only 2-time winner of the Westgate Super Contest, which is the biggest NFL handicapping contest in the world. So is $1 million the first place, $1,000 entry. Used to be $1,500 entry. Yeah, he won. He's the only person ever to win it twice, and he posts some of his picks on X. And sometimes he gets a lot of flack for this, but he'll routinely bet money lines of like minus 800, minus 1,000. And people are like, I always see in their response, they're like, "How can you bet this? The number's so high. Like you can't. You're laying minus 800, minus 1,000. What's wrong with you?" And he goes, "If the real number should be like minus 2,000 or minus 3,000, I'm getting great odds." And then people argue back, and some people are like, you could never do this. And like I like the greatest point he ever made was like, if you got minus 1,000 that the sun will rise tomorrow, you wouldn't bet it. You know, it's like if you know it's a sure thing, then maybe minus 320 is worth it. I mean, you are tying up some money here, and you know there are better values, but like realistically, it should be higher than minus 320 because it seems very unlikely he's going to go in top 8, you know? So,
look, when I used to work at a betting firm, I was betting on tennis and we bet on favorites the vast majority of the time. That's just where the model said the money should go. Mm. And the stronger the favorite, a lot of the time, the more money would go on it because you need to put more money on to obviously make money. But yeah, because there are a lot of opportunities here. There aren't casual bettors out there betting the minus 800s. They're not interested, and therefore they're taking the other side because it looks shiny, and that's what they want to tell their friends about. And as a result, the odds on the underdog are often actually pretty strong.
Yeah, it's true. Cooper seems very trappy. I agree. Styles plus 250 on FanDuel at 5, even better arbitrage. Yeah, it's great arbitrage. It's rare to find something like that. Okay. Next, what is the next tab? Let's see. It's always a surprise. To be drafted top 5. Here we go. Arvo Reese minus 1,800. Bailey minus 1,600. They seem like locks. That's a lot of money to tie up. Love minus 165. That's great until you remember that you can get minus 140 on FanDuel. Styles minus 15. We talked about that. Malinoa plus 175 down to 250. Tate 300, Bain 550, Fano 900, Freeling 1300, Delane 13, Tyson 14. To me, this is basically the Giants pick. You know, there's really not much I don't think here except Love minus 140. Any thoughts?
The only one that's interesting because there is the possibility of Styles going at 4. Betting him here is arguably better than no, it's still the over that I prefer anyway. No, don't like it. Taking it back. No, nothing.
Yeah,
I started trying to talk myself into Styles, and then I realized I'm on the wrong side of it anyway.
Yeah. I just think Love is the best way, but yeah, you get the better number for sure. Okay, that's the only thing here. Top 10. So we have Styles minus 3,000, Love minus 3,000, Tate minus 800. Downs minus 550, Malinoa minus 300. It's kind of crazy that real quick. The Downs is minus 550, yet his under 9.5 is much more reasonable. So it seems very, very strange. Delane minus 250, Bain minus 180, and then we get to the pluses. Tyson's plus 110, Fano plus 140. McCoy 380, Freeling 5-1, Lemon 550, Proctor 550, Iwane 6-1, Sadiq 650, and then we have longer shots. Thielemann, Thienemann 12-1, Simpson 15-1, Cooper 20-1, Woods 25, Falk 25. Does anything stand out to you here? I see like a couple of things.
The only one that really interests me is Fano. I feel like there is a pretty good chance he goes somewhere in the top 10. There's so many landing spots that make sense for him. I still think it's possible he goes 11, but or falls. But he's a little bit interesting. No, he's really the only one that really jumps out to me.
Yeah, Fano's the number one guy who stands out to me for sure. He could just go so many spots between 5 and 10. You know, like he can go 5 to the Giants, he can go 6 to the Browns. I don't think 7 or 8 make much sense, but the Chiefs could definitely take him at 9, and I don't think the Bengals will do it, but it's not out of the possibility that they would do it to protect Burrows at 10. So there's just so many outs there for him. I think Lemon at 550 is a little interesting, and Iwane 6-1. If Pauline's saying that the Ravens are 14 or his floor, maybe his ceiling could be 9 to the Chiefs. Like, you mocked Fano to them. What if they love Iwane? They can certainly take Iwane at number 9. So I think 6-1's live. I don't think he goes top 10, but I think there's a chance. And then Sadiq 650 is a little interesting too. I don't think it happens, but there's definitely a possibility that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not so sure about Iwane, but Sadiq is interesting because you can imagine him going to the Saints. Yeah. You can imagine him going to the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And both of those combined seem to be slightly better than 13-2.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next tab, which is head to head. So we have 5 of these. Who will be drafted first, Sadiq or Lemon? Lemon is -230. Sadiq is +170. Hold on. Let me go back to this tab. So, Lemon's +550. Sadiq is +650. So why is that so much of a disparity?
I guess they feel like Sadiq's going to go 14 or 15 and Lemon's going to go 11 or 13.
I guess maybe. So, right? Yeah, I don't know. Seems like the value is with Sadiq, I guess, but I'm not eager to bet it. What do you think?
I feel like if Sadiq's going to go ahead of Lemon, he probably needs to go in the top 10. So you might as well just take him in the top 10.
Right.
Because the only other situation would be Sadiq for some reason goes to the Dolphins and then Lemon goes at 13. Mm-hmm. And I think the odds of the Dolphins spending their first pick on a tight end is pretty low. So I think I would just go top 10 Sadiq if you're interested in betting that in either direction.
Yeah, or maybe Lemon falls because of what happened at the Combine too. Mm-hmm. That's a possibility. So yeah, I could see betting either one. I think I wouldn't be on the Lemon side at this price. No. That said, if these odds were reversed, I would be on Lemon. So
yeah.
So anyway, who's drafted first, Freeling or Proctor? Both are -115. I would lean Proctor, but I don't feel great about it. What do you think?
I would go Proctor, and I actually feel pretty good about it at those odds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Everything I'm hearing has Proctor going ahead of Freeling. Now, that could be a smokescreen, or it could be the Browns trade down and Freeling's to get Freeling at, I don't know, 12 or somewhere. But I really do feel like Proctor's significantly more likely to go ahead of Freeling.
In Charlie's mock draft, his Monday mock draft, he has Proctor at 17, and he has Freeling at 23. So, we have Charlie's blessing there. The third one is Peter Woods or Kane McDonald. McDonald's -170. Peter Woods is +130. To me, this is Woods, but if these odds are reversed, I'd be McDonald. I think this is a coin flip, really. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think Woods makes sense, especially with those odds. If they were both -115, then I would just avoid it altogether. But because you're getting a little bit with Woods, I would consider taking it.
Fourth one, Ruben Bain or Delane. Bain is -120. Delane is -110. I feel like this is another coin flip. What do you think about this one? I don't really feel strongly about either side.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about it either. I would just avoid it.
Yeah. Okay. Simpson or Iheanacho? Iheanacho is -240. Simpson's +175. I think if Arizona trades down, I think Simpson goes 20. But Ian Ochor could go. He could go 17. He could go early 20s or mid to late 20s. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to say not sure it's going to go earlier, but minus 240 sucks. So if I had to bet this, I think I would just take the 175, but I wouldn't do it. What do you think?
Look, I have Simpson going in the second round.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not that confident. In fact, because I have Simpson going in the second round, I just bet under 1.5 quarterbacks and I got significantly better odds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit confused by that because the odds makers suggest that Simpson will go somewhere in the first round. We all expect Ian Archer to go late in the first round. So I'm very surprised that they've got it that way around. That nearly doesn't make any sense to me. I have to assume that the bookies are thinking that Ian Archer is going to go a lot earlier than we expect him to.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that's what that says. So, hopefully we have more of these next week. They could certainly add some more odds here. And this is another thing, they don't have a Kalshi. So if I want to bet this, I will have to go to New Jersey. The next one is these are teams first selections. So there are a bunch of them. So we could go division by division, and if something stands out, we could talk about it. AFC North. We have Ravens first positions, offensive lineman 150, receiver 250, tight end 350, and then longer odds. And the Steelers are receiver 185, lineman, offensive lineman 185, D line edge 650, quarterback 7-1. I don't think it's gonna be quarterback. I think I do have the Ravens taking Sadiq, so 350 is kind of interesting, but not really. Nothing. Yeah, I don't really see anything worth betting here yet. Sometimes we do get info on the Steelers, so it's not a guarantee, but sometimes we do. So hopefully we get that info. Like we had their first round pick last year. So, anything on the AFC North here?
I bet a very small amount on the Steelers to go O-line at plus 185.
I think they go that way. Yeah, if I had to bet it, yeah. Which we're getting a better number, but I think that's fine. It's fine to bet.
I think the number on the wide receiver is so wild that it kind of makes everything else look a little bit juicy.
Yeah, it's so strange. Yeah, I mean they could do it. I don't think that they're definitely not. They're definitely not out of receiver, but I think linemen should be more likely. AFC South, we have the Texans here. Offensive line is minus 140, defensive line plus 160, which we had in our mock draft. Linebacker plus 850, and then very long shots. Colts, this is second round, so good luck trying to predict this. Defensive line edge is 2-1, linebacker 250, offensive line 350, receiver 425, safety 475. They really need an edge. They lost so many defensive linemen in free agency. I think edge. It's not a surprise that edge is favored there. And then the Jaguars, also second round because of the trade they had last year. Defensive line edge 140 plus 140, which Charlie actually said that they wanted to concentrate on defensive line edge in his combine report. That happened a while ago, but still. Offensive lineman plus 370, corner 5-1, safety 5.5-1, linebacker 5.5-1. Does anything intrigue you in the AFC South?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, look, two of these are second round picks, so I wouldn't. I don't like this. And then Houston, I think it's lineman, but that price sucks. So I agree. All right, AFC East. We have the Bills, defensive line edge plus 135, offensive line 3-1, cornerback plus 350, receiver plus 475. That seems wrong to me. I think that should be higher. And the linebacker 7-1, safety 8-1. Patriots, defensive line 1 plus 100, offensive line plus 200. Receiver plus 370, safety 10-1, and then long shots. I think Patriots 2-1 to take an offensive lineman seems like the best bet we've seen on this page so far. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I got it at plus 250. I put a heap on it because that seemed insane to me. And even at plus 200, I would still be betting on it. Every single rumor I've heard about the Patriots has them going O-line. That's not to say it will happen, but that's what other GMs are expecting. That's what beat reporters are saying. Basically, everyone is saying O-line for the Patriots. So that's really weird. I also don't hate the Bills going D-line or edge because I think it's likely. And plus 135 isn't terrible odds. There are better bets around, but if you just feel like you want to bet every single market, then that's where I would go with the Bills.
Yeah. The boss said, is Simpson a better prospect than Nix, McCarthy, and Penix? According to Charlie, who all went top 15. I know Charlie likes Simpson a lot, compared to others. Maybe not as much as Orlovsky, but he likes him. He likes him a lot. So I think according to Charlie, he would say yes. And you have to remember, like, Nix, McCarthy, and Penix all went high, but Nix and McCarthy weren't thought as highly of, but I think those teams just were desperate. And then Penix, I thought maybe a little bit higher. I know the Raiders liked him. They were disappointed that they didn't get him. So maybe not Penix, but I think I don't know. Charlie thinks so. I just don't like that he has 1 year of experience. It really bothers me. It's like a long history of players failing with 1 year of experience. And it's not like he thrived in big games either. In the playoffs and the SC championship, like, just it's not that great. So I don't know. What do you think about this? Because I really didn't like any of them coming out. So what do you think?
I mean, I think we always knew that Nix was going to be a solid pro because he had played so many years in college that it really wasn't a surprise. And Penix, I think we felt like he went early and we thought it was insane that they took him when they'd just given Cousins a whole heap of money. But the issue wasn't with the prospect. The issue was with where he was selected. And I think it's starting to look like they probably took him a little bit early, but he's going to be okay. And I think we all had concerns about McCarthy. And I have serious concerns about Simpson in the same way that I did about McCarthy. So I think looking back, and even at the time, McCarthy seemed like he was going too early. We did probably think he was a first-round pick, and I think now we're starting to recognize that he should have been a second-rounder, and hopefully they'll learn the lesson for Simpson.
Yeah, when the McCarthy draft happened, I remember when, after that they won the championship, I thought, this guy looks like a second-round pick to me. And then they were talking about, like, top 10. It was top 10 for McCarthy? Really? And, he ended up going number 10. The Vikings moved up one pick for him. It's crazy. Yeah. Peter Woods -105 to go first round on FanDuel. I like that. I think Charlie's right in that regard. I don't think it's an amazing bet, but I would take it. Okay, so AFC West, we have Denver. They don't have a first round pick either, so good luck. Linebacker +250, edge +250, offensive line 4-1, tight end +425. They've met with a lot of tight ends, so that could be the case there. Safety +750, running back +750. Chiefs offensive line +250. Although we had the number 9 pick here, so it's kind of rehashing what could have been there. So I feel like we skipped this one. Chargers defensive line edge -120, offensive line +155, receiver +475, corner +850. So what do you think about these teams in the AFC West?
I mean, all those odds kind of make sense. I think Denver's just going to go best player available, so we can't do anything with that really, because that's kind of what that looks like there. I think that's pretty high for linebacker, admittedly, but still. Chiefs we've already talked about, and I think we know that the Chargers are probably going to go D-line or edge, but they could go O-line, and that's exactly what the odds say, so everything's as we'd expect it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a small bet on tight end to Denver in a second round, but like I said, they met with so many tight ends. It seems like they want to go that route, and Sean Payton wants an upgrade there. He wants like a joker player at tight end, like he had with Jimmy Graham. So I would consider this. I don't know if I'll actually bet it, but it's into consideration. All right, NFC teams. We have the NFC North: Bears minus defensive line edge -130, safety +275, offensive line +475, corner +700. Lions offensive line -300, defensive line +250. That's a high number but it's probably warranted. Cornerback 8-1. And then very long shots there. Packers offensive line +165, corner +165, defensive line +250, and then receiver 9-1. And then Vikings safety +165, defensive line edge +190, offensive line 4-1, cornerback +425. What do you think about these four teams?
I'm surprised by the D-line odds on the Packers because I would have thought that was close to their most likely pick. So I'm quite surprised that that's not a little bit higher. Because that kind of feels like a need for me. Vikings makes perfect sense. Safety and D line we know are the most likely options.
Yeah.
What were the other two again? I got too interested in the Bears. That's right. I know those lines on odds for own line at minus 300 are kind of crazy, and yet if I'm going to bet something, that's what I'm betting because it's probably going to be that.
Yeah, right. That seems pretty likely, unless like someone crazy falls to them. Like we know that they really like Kendrick Falk, but it seems like that they need to go offensive lineman. But like, I don't even know who it could be. Like, what if Bane falls to them at 17 because the off the field stuff? Like, maybe they just take a shot on him. I don't know, but I do think they'll go offensive lineman though.
Yep, I agree, and I think the Bears will probably go one of those top two options. So most of that makes sense, but I think Packers D line is a little bit interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, NFC South Falcons, who don't have a first round pick, defensive line plus 185, offensive line plus 240, receiver plus 320, linebacker 5-1, corner 6-1. Panthers receivers the favorite plus 250, tight end 3-1, defensive line edge 3-1, offensive line plus 350, safety 6-1. If you believe the Thieneman news, that might look good. Cornerback plus 850, and then Buccaneers plus 135 to defensive line edge, tight end 3-1, offensive line plus 330, cornerback plus 380, and then longer shots. So, what do you think about this?
Surprises me how tight the odds are for the Panthers and the Bucks on tight end. That's a little bit wild.
Mm-hmm.
That should be opening up possibilities. The problem is I think the Bucks probably go D line or edge. I think that's the most likely because I don't think you want to full. So I don't think it would be wild to put a bet on that. I think they're very unlikely to go cornerback, so I'm surprised by that. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to put a little bit on D line for the Bucks, but nothing that's particularly exciting.
Yeah. Okay. We have NFC East here. There's only one team, the Eagles. Offensive line plus 115, receiver plus 280, defensive line edge 370, tight end 6-1, safety plus 750. I think they go lineman, but again, receiver definitely possibility with Brown heading to the Patriots. What do you think about this?
If I was going to set the odds, I'd have it pretty close to that. I might have receiver slightly lower, so that's probably a reasonable bet, but not a great one.
Yeah, I feel the same way. NFC West, last division. Rams minus 135 at receiver, offensive line 3-1, tight end 6-1, defensive line edge 7-1, safety plus 950. Seahawks, cornerback plus 155, which we had in our mock. Offensive line 3-1, running back plus 380, defensive line edge 4-1, safety 10-1, linebacker 10-1. And then the Niners, offensive line plus 115. Defensive line edge plus 220, receiver plus 425, cornerback plus 550, and then longer shots. I see one thing that's interesting here. What are your thoughts on these?
I like something in all three of these. I think Rams going wide receiver at minus 135. That's actually not bad. No. Because I don't know anyone who's not mocking them a wide receiver. Every man and his dog that I care about the opinion of has them mocked a wide receiver. I monitor like 8 drafts, and everybody has them going a wide receiver. Now, that's not to say it will. That's not how this works. Because most people have the Vikings going Thieneman, for example, and I wouldn't say that's over a 50% chance. But if you're going to guess what the Rams are going to do, you're saying wide receiver and you're not even thinking about anything else. So I think that's a reasonable bet. I think the Seahawks going cornerback or even better D-line / edge, I might consider just taking both of those and covering my bases because I think they're highly likely to do one of those two things. And 49ers wide receiver is not bad either.
Yeah, that's the one I like, the plus 425. I definitely like that. I don't think they go offensive line. I think they go receiver or defensive line edge. But I would be willing to take the 425. And I do like your idea of taking cornerback and D-line edge for Seattle. Again, I think running back, I've seen Price mocked at 32. I think that's too early for him. I think 64 makes more sense for a running back. They could even trade up a little. Well, no, never mind. They only have 4 picks, so maybe they don't trade up, but maybe
I guess they could trade down a mile.
Right.
They could trade down 20 picks.
Yeah, they could trade into the 40s and take Price there. So I think that's the only danger there. So, but yeah, if they remain at 32, I think you're right. By the way, I've heard you say every man and his dog. Is that a saying in Australia? Because like in America, it's every man and his grandma or mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
No. Every man and his dog is like just what we say all the time for that sort of thing. I did not realize that was an Australian thing.
Yeah, it's every man and his every man and his dog. That is coming up. Yeah, so every man and his grandmom, I think. I don't know. It's one of the two. I can't remember which one, but anyway. So I always say every man and his evil stepmother. That's what I say. Anyway, we have two more tabs here. I don't know what they are. Position over under. So okay, we have a few here. Total corners first round over 4.5 is plus 330. Under 4.5 is minus 500.
It's probably going to be under, but I wouldn't give it more than 20% odds.
Yeah, agreed. Total lineman, offensive lineman, over 7.5 is minus 190. Under 7.5 is plus 145.
I bet the under at one stage, and I'm starting to regret it.
How many did we have in our mind? I can't pull it up, but we had.
I think we might have had 8.
Okay, we had Mauanoa 1. We had Fano 2. Let's see, Awane 3, Proctor 4, Blake Miller 5, Freeling 6, Alamu 7. And Hanakor, I'm not sure, 8. So we had 8.
Yeah. And I think 8's most likely, but I could see one of those guys falling. It only takes one of them to. Lomu probably the most likely to. It only takes one to go down. But then again, it's just as possible that you get one of the guards coming up, like a Basontos or someone like that, breakdown. So I did originally bet the under, but it was a small amount, and I would take it back if I could.
Yeah. Total offensive players. I don't know. Anything on this? I don't know.
No, I never bet total offense or total defense.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, quarterbacks. I know you like the under 1.5. I think I'd go over, but I don't. They're both minus 115. I don't like. I wouldn't bet it though.
That is tightened up enormously.
Yeah.
When I bet that, I had it at plus 280.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Oh wait, that can't be right. Plus 180. Sorry, that's still not bad.
Oh yeah, it's still great. Yeah. Total running backs over 1.5 is plus 400. Under 1.5 is minus 700. I would bet the minus 700 if I didn't like other things. So what do you think?
Yeah, agree. There will not be a running back in the first round.
Yeah. Well, after Love, yeah. Total safeties over 2.5 minus 300. Under 2.5 is plus 215. I think it's under, but this draft class is so not top heavy that I could see a third safety sneaking in, but I do like the under 2.5.
Yeah, I've put quite a lot on the under for that, and I assumed the line would move, and it hasn't, which has me a little bit nervous. I know a lot of people like McNeil Warren.
Yeah.
I have no idea if teams do. In fact, if I'm going to ask Charlie one question, is McNeil Warren going to go in the first round? Because I know he doesn't have him in there at the moment, but I do wonder if there's teams out there towards the late 20s that like him.
He has McNeil Warren going to the Bengals in the second round in his Monday update, and Thieneman he is going to 22 to the Chargers. Look, McNeil Warren's not as good as a prospect as Starks or Emanwari, and Starks went end of first round. Emanwari went second round. So
yeah,
but then again, last year's class was better than this one. So I would bet the under 2.5. I do it cautiously though, but I still think this is something I'm going to bet. Tight ends drafted over 1.5 is plus 850. Under 1.5 is minus 2,000. You want to bet 2,000 win 100?
I mean, it's not the dumbest thing I've heard anyone do because there will not be a tight end in the first round. But I think there's better places to keep your money.
Yeah, agreed. Total receivers over 5.5 is minus 130. Under 5.5 is plus 100. We had how many do we have? We had
6, I think. Did we put Boston, Cooper, and Concepcion?
Yeah. So we had 6. Yeah.
And you could see Chris Bell getting in, for example. I think the over makes more sense, but I wouldn't bet it.
Yeah. Conference. I'm going to skip this because I
never bet them.
I can't remember who's in each conference. They keep changing. I have no idea. I can't tell you who's in the Big 12. I've no clue. Anyway, we have first selected position. Okay, we only have a few of these. So first corner, Delane minus 600, McCoy plus 370. I think there's more interest on second corner. I hope they have it, but I think it's gonna be Delane. So, but minus 600 is a big price. Yeah, what do you think?
Look, I mean, I bet a small amount on it when it was like minus 150, and even then I was kind of like, it's probably going to be Delane, but I wouldn't put any money on it.
Yeah. Okay, first offensive lineman, Mauano is minus 270, Fanos plus 240. I like Fano plus 240. I think Mauano is more likely, but with this price, again, this is another one. If the odds are reversed, I'd like Mauano, but yeah, plus 240.
This is a market I've been hitting really hard for weeks because Freeling's been ruining the odds for quite a while. Or I say ruining, making the odds fantastic. I think I got Mauanoa at plus 150, and I got Fanu at plus 900. So even though those have tightened up, I still don't think Fanu's terrible at plus 240.
Oh yeah, seems like a good price.
And if you look around, you might find places where you can get better as well.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, first receiver. We have Tate minus 500, Tyson plus 320, Lemon 8-1. Again, I think it'll be Tate. It's a bad price. I think it could easily be Tyson. It could be Lemon to a lesser extent. What do you think?
Yeah, I put a small amount on Tyson at about that price, but I would probably take it back if I could.
Okay. Second corner, this is Patrick brought this up. McCoy minus 185. Then we had Delane 4-1. So take him out, I think. Chris Johnson plus 650. Hood 7-1. Avion Terrell 35-1. Pond 60-1. Cisse 60-1. I wish they had the field here because what if it's someone like what if it's someone else that we're not thinking of? I don't know who.
It could be Six.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It could be someone else too. So I wish they had field. I think this is a decent chance to spray some money, but half unit Johnson, half unit Hood, like a quarter of a unit on the others. I don't think Ponds, but Terrell, Cisse maybe. And yeah, I think that's, it's not guaranteed to hit. It could easily still be McCoy, but if he does have these injury issues, then you could definitely make some money here. And this would be another one to ask Charlie for sure, and we'll do that on Tuesday. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it feels like a Will Johnson situation.
Yes.
Where he fell way further than we were. Like, I remember my first mock, I had Will Johnson going in the top 5 or something ridiculous, and he didn't even end up in the first round. Like,
yeah,
it feels like that sort of situation here. So I don't mind putting a little bit around the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good comparison. Will Johnson, Grok liked Will Johnson so much they mocked him twice to me. You remember that? It was.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But they changed. It was Willie Johnson, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was Will Johnson and then Willie Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, you guys listed the same player twice, and they was like, oh, we had a typo. I was like, yeah, typo. Yeah, sure. So I haven't done. AI's improved so much in the past year. I kind of wonder what a mock draft from them would look like this time. Sure, it would be better. So I'll try to do that at some point. Did you guys touch on round 1 props? They haven't come up yet. If they haven't come up, then DraftKings doesn't have them. But we do have 1 tab left, so that could be it. Well, no, sorry, this is our last tab. So DraftKings didn't have them.
That's weird.
Yeah. I did every tab. So I don't know. We have what, 4 more? We have 4 more here. Fano, second lineman. Fano plus 115, Mauanoa plus 240, Freeling plus 550, Proctor plus 550, Owane plus 650. It's kind of like the opposite of the other one. So any thoughts on this one, or you just betting the other one, the first line?
I think that's really tough because you do bring in the possibility of Owane being in there. I have heard people say that Proctor's an outside possibility of top 10 to the Bengals, for example. Mm-hmm. So I would prefer to go first O-line because I feel like it's near guaranteed to be Fanu or Mauanoa.
Yeah. Second quarterback, Simpsons minus 2,500. Nussmeier 16-1, Aller 2000, Taylor Green 22, Beck 22. Yeah, it'll be Simpson. I don't unless does anything else stand out to you? And I don't think so.
No, it'll be Simpson.
Yeah. Second safety, Thieneman minus 330, McNeil Warren plus 280, Downs 14-1. I'd probably be Thieneman, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet at those odds. Do you agree?
Yeah, I put the smallest amount of a unit on Downs at like plus 2,200 at one stage when they had that injury news, but that's not happening anymore. So it's probably going to be Thieneman, but I wouldn't bet it.
Okay. And last one on this page, we have Jordan second receiver, Jordan Tyson plus 140, Lemon plus 145, Tate 3-1, Cooper 7-1, Concepcion 750, Boston crazy odds compared to the other two, 45-1. Not that that's a good bet. I'm just kind of weird. What are your thoughts on this one?
I love to see Tyson's odds increasing because I've had him as my second receiver pretty much the whole time. And I think he's a significantly better player than Lemon. There's just that injury risk, and it seems like teams are starting to feel happy about drafting him. So I'm excited for that because I think he's going to be great for fantasy.
Yeah, I agree. He could be the first receiver as we discussed. So there's one more tab. It's BetMGM, but it's basically the same stuff, just different odds. If I'm just going to scroll real quickly, if I see something that we didn't have on DraftKings, I will. Here teams to draft Ty Simpson. Cardinals are plus 105. Jets are 225. Rams 5-1. Steelers 9-1. We know the Cardinals like him, so. But do you want to do it plus 105? What do you think?
I'm hearing quite a bit about the Jets not liking him. And I can't imagine anyone else taking him anywhere near the first round, which is why I still think he's going to fall out of the first round. I think the Cardinals will probably just stick and pick. It's not impossible they'll move up 2 or 3 spots, but I don't hate it. I don't have enough confidence in it because it only takes one team to be sneaky like the Falcons were 2 years ago, and all of a sudden it's ruined the bet.
I just think that the teams like the 5th-year option for the quarterback so much that I feel like they could easily go from 34 to 31 or 32. Seattle's desperate to move down. I know it's the same division, but still, it's like a minor trade, 34 to 32. I feel like they're just going to do it. We saw that last year with the Giants with Dart. Let's see, round 1 pick market for me in the tab after. Yeah, I didn't have that tab. It's very strange that I didn't have
I think he's saying it's in the same tab as the over-unders.
Okay, let me make sure because I didn't see it. Or is the over-under? Yeah, position over-under. It's not here.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay. I must have misunderstood.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, team draft Sadiq. Panthers 310, Buccaneers 325, Ravens 5-1, Rams 6-1, Eagles 650. We talked about the Ravens and Buccaneers being both possibilities. He may not make it to the Panthers. Seems like he won't, I don't think. So I would be fine betting both the Bucs and the Ravens. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable. Having said that, the odds aren't fantastic because you can imagine a situation where the Cowboys trade up with the Chiefs, for example, because they want to get Bain, and then the Chiefs at 12 take Sadiq.
Sure.
You can imagine the Rams somehow one of the wide receivers doesn't fall to them, or they don't like. Maybe they've decided Tyson's injury is too much of a risk, so they decide they go Sadiq there instead and go about it another way. Mm-hmm. There's enough possibilities with these other teams that I just don't feel good about.
The Saints 20-1 is interesting too.
Yeah.
I don't. Never mind. I don't like this. Yeah, talk me out of it. Then we have over unders. We had those. We talked about them. What's the first corner? Yeah, first positions. We did this top 5. Teams to draft whatever. We talked about those. Just see if we had anything else, and then we'll probably call it a show. These are just teams, offensive players. Yeah, we talked about that too. And that's it. We go to awards. So, that's about it. MGM might have, for some reason, not showing up for me. Maybe it's the New Jersey thing. Like, who knows? Maybe they just don't have it.
What's the one right there that you're looking at? The one that we're seeing odds on, the Miller and Mesidor and stuff like that.
Oh, there we go. That's the last thing.
Yeah, I didn't see it
Okay.
either. I was like, what could those odds possibly be about if it's not that?
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's our last thing we're looking at to be drafted in the first round. Thieneman minus 3,000. I don't think that's the guarantee. Like I would love to get the no on this, and if it was Kalshi, you could. I do think he's going to be drafted first round, but like we've seen safeties fall all the time, so I don't think he's guaranteed. Cooper minus 1,200. I don't think he's guaranteed either. So these odds are kind of crazy for these guys. Falk minus 800. Blake Miller minus 750. Mesidor minus 550. Concepcion minus 425. Lamu minus 300. McDonald minus 300. Woods minus 250. Colton Hood minus 250. Ian Achor 250, Emmanuel McNeil, Warren minus 200, Denzel Boston minus 150, Parker minus 140, Simpson minus 135, Chris Johnson minus 135, Lawrence minus 115, Passant, and then here we go. We get to the fun stuff. We get to the plus guys. Passantis plus 110, Zion Young 135, Avion Terrell 160, CJ Allen 2-1. That's kind of interesting. Cassius Howell 275, Caleb Banks 325, Kalen Rutledge 375. Pregnon 4-1, Cisse plus 650, Anthony Hill 7-1, Jadarian Price 7-1, Jacob Rodriguez 7-1, Christian Miller 750, R. Mason Thomas 850, Gabe Akis 10-1, Pons 12-1, Lee Hunter 15. I think Charlie has Hunter in the first round.
He does. He's got him at like 18 in his previous one.
Yeah, in his Monday mock draft, he was in 25. So there you go. That could be a good one. Lee Hunter 15-1. I think it's definitely worth a shot. Stowers 20-1. Galladay 30-1. Brazel 40-1. He's another receiver who could maybe sneak in, but I don't think so. I actually think Bell is more likely, but yeah. Bernard 40-1. Mike Washington 51. Bell's a decent option here at 50-1. Delp 51. Branch 50-1. Surratt 66. We have Claire 80. Beck 80, Taylor Green 80, and we get some 100-1s here. These are all 100-1s. Nussmeyer, Aller, Keontae Scott, Jake Slaughter, all 150-1s. Sam Roush, Antonio Williams, Sam Hecht, Kyle Lewis, AJ Halsey, Jennings Dunker, Bryce Lance, and then we have extreme long shots. These are 250-1 Malachi Fields, Klubnik, Kilgore, Skylar Bell, Barham, Malik Muhammad, and Diego Papi. What anything stand out to you? I mentioned the two, Lee Hunter and Chris Bell. I like Lee Hunter more. What do you think?
Yeah. Firstly, Malachi Fields being that far down, he was in people's first round mock draft for ages. So that's
he was,
amazing.
yeah.
Not that I bet him, but it's just interesting.
250-1. Real quick, where does Charlie have him? He has him at 37. Yeah. Someone's projected to go 37, 250-1 seems like a decent long shot, you know? Why not bet like 20, 50 bucks on it? Okay. Anyway, what else do you like?
Can we go up to the top of the pluses?
Yes.
So I liked Chris Bell. I liked CJ Allen at plus 200. I think that's pretty good. I know he didn't go in our mock, but I think that's because we weren't projecting trades. I think if we had the Buccaneers trading down, I think if we had the Cowboys trading down from 20, which is a possibility, they're two teams that I know both like Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both legitimate possibilities. Cassius Howell at plus 275 is nuts to me. I think... Sorry, my book's just falling apart. I've torn half the page out. I'm that excited about Cassius Howell. Yeah, I mean, Charlie had him going at 26 in his last mock, and there's plenty of other guys that have him going there as well. So I think he's pretty good odds as well, and I think Chris Bell's the other one that stands out.
Yeah. Comment saying JP's burners saying these are horrible compared to FanDuel. I would have put FanDuel on the screen, but like I said, FanDuel, it wasn't displaying the draft odds for me. I don't know. It's so annoying, these stupid laws. Like I said, just let me see the odds at least. Like, so maybe I can cross state lines, which is legal, you know. Anyway, that is it for our draft show. Ben, love having you on the show. Thanks for coming on. Great show as always with you. And everyone, thank you so much for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. Ben, do you want to plug anything or say anything on your way out here?
Yeah, sure. Look, as always, head over to ffdfantasyfootball.com. If you want rankings, I will be updating the dynasty rankings. Might be moving the site that I'm doing that stuff for at some stage. We'll see. But for now, it's on there. And I'll definitely be letting you guys know if anything changes with that. will also be releasing my last mock draft. I was very lucky last year. I think I won the Fantasy Pros accuracy competition last year, which is not that impressive because Walt and Charlie have done it half a dozen times between them. But last year was my year, using all of Walt and Charlie's stuff and whatever other information I can get as well. So trying to go back to back, something only the real kings of mock drafting have ever done. So my last mock draft video will be out a couple of days out from the draft on my YouTube channel. If you're not following the YouTube channel, what are you even doing? Other than that, just so excited for the draft. Already starting to feel a little bit sick. Can imagine myself feeling sick on that Friday morning for me around draft time. I think it's possible, just the throat starting to feel it a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's that time of year, right? People tend to get little coffee, last weekend of April. I don't know what it is. It just tends to happen, we're at walterfootball.com. We're going to be back tomorrow with Tom, and then Tuesday with Charlie. Those are our final 2 shows before the draft. Wednesday, just going to be crazy busy preparing the final mock. Thursday, I assume I'm going to be on, not a long show. I'll probably be solo at that point. Just talking about the first round grades. It won't be a long show because I'll have to do the remock and everything. It's going to be a long night, but a fun night too. And then Friday, probably not, because Friday tends to be a longer night because the 2 rounds, and then have to prepare for an early morning Saturday. So we'll have shows tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then normal scheduling after that. So thanks, guys. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for tons of content, free content, and I will talk to you tomorrow.